And it looks like we're live. Greetings and salutations. I'm Unthoff Neverborn. This is the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to Eldritch Rants, the show that dares to ask the question, where do babies come from? The answers to this question and many more will be answered by our panel of experts, including Wendy Wook, who actually the only reason we call her onto the panel is so that we can ask her the question, watch her stammer and blush. And of course, Drew, who is more than happy to supply any amount of babies that you want as long as you can meet the finder's fee. And last but not least, he's got a black belt in bullshit. He's the Baron of Blather. The only difference between what he does and stupidity is all in the swagger. It's Friday von Bumsting. How's everybody doing? No Step on Snek, starring Trogdor, the Burninator. At any rate, I got a lot of silly stuff this week, but there's a couple of serious things in there to rant about, so we're going to do it as usual, as whatever random alphabetical order it showed up on my file here, and we're going to run with it. Anything you guys want to bring up to rant about?
Nah.
Okay, the only thing, because I don't know if I actually took it as a... I think I brought it down as a file, but I'm not sure. It might come up later. I just want to officially apologize to Donald Trump for being dead wrong. I believe about 2 weeks ago I said, in order for you to justify the bombing of Syria, you are going to have to pull a miracle out of your ass. And just yesterday, he got North Korea to back down and claim they're going to dismantle their nuclear program. So, yeah, that qualifies in my account. So, moving on.
Well, just real quick, though, to tell you the truth, though, that thing with North Korea has been on the cards for a good long while now, even just before the Olympics.
Well, I got a feeling that showing that he was a complete hothead willing to attack a country on the flimsiest of excuses might have helped out a little bit to encourage North Korea to consider coming to the negotiation table. At any rate, we're going to start off with, after rare gunfire in Saudi capital, officials say they shot down a toy drone. Apparently, everybody thought there was some sort of coup going on and that the prince was in danger as bursts of gunfire were heard from the throne room of the prince's Capitol building, or whatever the fuck they call it here. I can't even find the name for it. But apparently somebody was just flying around at night a small remote-controlled toy airplane into restricted airspace, and it was immediately shot down. So knowing these guys, they probably just opened fire with machine guns and turned it into scrap in the sky. But the whole country went on to high alert, preparing for war, because somebody flew a toy plane over their palace. Thought.
Okay.
I mean, isn't that just...
Their security is good.
Isn't that just the plot of War Games?
No. I think I got a theory here. You know, there was just a birthday party going on. They were celebrating, and all of a sudden, a drone came down. So, that's what we were doing. You get it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really stupid excuse, but it's so stupid it might be true. But yeah, although the Prince Mohammed has, how shall we say, found quite a number of lawbreakers in, his enemy political circles, and quite a number of them have wound up in jail. So nobody be surprised if somebody took a couple of pot shots at him. Of course, they say that the king wasn't anywhere near there. So
also, too, the Saudis have been at war with Yemen for a good long while now, and they haven't really been making much headway.
Last I heard, the Saudis didn't even notice it was there.
What, Yemen or the drone?
Yemen. At any rate, any thoughts before moving on?
I still say it was a birthday party and they were just shooting AKs in the air just for celebration.
At any rate, moving on. Artist faces backlash after killing butterflies and using their wings for a painting symbolizing rebirth.
That just says that they're a shit artist.
She took the wings of multiple butterflies and made a picture of the portrait of Van Gogh. I gotta admit, looking at the picture, it's pretty impressive. But apparently, all sorts of, vegan progressives, flipped out on her.
Like PETA?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, apparently murdering 500 butterflies and using them as a collage kind of offends them.
Yeah, couldn't she have just sort of, painted all the details and all that? Couldn't that pass her mind?
Well, she said everybody uses paint. I wanted to use something new. So I'm actually kind of impressed with it. It looks pretty good, but I could do the same thing. I believe they've got programs where you like dump in a whole bunch of pictures and then it'll use the pictures to make a big picture. So like you can have your own face made out of like 1,000 different faces of you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all she did with butterflies. Do we care? Like, I don't understand why there was any outrage about this at all. Like, they're just bugs.
Well, now I know about that program. There's a lot of people I'm going to make portraits of using millions and millions of little pictures of assholes.
That's an interesting mental image. Any other thoughts before moving on?
Well, that sort of has some nuance to it, It's a picture of an asshole made up of a bunch of assholes.
Assumption?
An arsehole inside of an arsehole inside of an arsehole inside of an arsehole. Hang on. We call that a rosebud in the porn world.
Oh my god, what?
Prolapse.
You and your prolapsed assholes. Moving on. Ban on skull crossbone symbols in army for Australia. Australia's new soon-to-be Defence Force chief has banned soldiers from displaying symbols or images of crossbones, skulls, or the Grim Reaper on patches.
Yeah, but the way things are going now, the feminazis are fucking starting to take over the Australian Defence Force, and I can absolutely fucking see in the future that they're going to replace hat badges with used tampons. Just so as the feminist power, and somehow use tampons as a fucking sign of femininity and powerful women, and fuck off.
You've got to hear this part. This is the part that blows my mind. These symbols are at odds with the Army's values and the ethical force we seek to build and sustain. As soldiers, our purpose is to serve the state, employing violence with humility always, and compassion whenever possible. How do you have compassionate violence?
Well, you see, I can give you an example, okay? In Vietnam, we had a lot of success in the Phuoc Tuy province because we didn't basically just walk in and say, right, we own a fucking joint. We moved people to safe places and offered them actual protection and all that. We didn't walk through villages and just fucking burn them down and stuff like that, what the Yanks were doing. So we got a lot of support from the local community by doing that. Of course, like we'd kill the enemy with a thermonuclear hatred. We just didn't piss the locals off. Now, that being said, they're trying to take a more softly fucking touch with this. And, the core values of the infantry used to be that you'd go out, you'd seek out, close with, kill and or destroy the enemy using those words. So, yeah, that's also too where we don't have fighter pilots anymore. We have fast jet pilots because you can't have fighter in the name, and we don't have riflemen anymore. We have what do they call them? Fucking, I can't remember, but you can't call them soldiers or riflemen anymore because rifles and soldiers are bad. And fuck off. I hate this country.
Any thoughts, Drew or Gwen?
I mean, I get what they're trying to say with the compassion thing, because it's not necessarily that you use violent compassion, because that sounds really fucking weird, but it's like the whole point is to try and enter a situation without having to resort to violence, but being able to do so if you need to.
So we did that.
Yeah, it sounds like they were already doing that. This
right.
Like this sounds like why. There's one thing I've learned is that if you scare somebody, if you terrified them, they back down. You just saved yourself from a fight. So
but
they want to.
Not how compassion works. Though.
I know, but I've saved somebody's life. I know that sounds weird,
you're
but
not wrong. Like I'm not going to argue because you're not wrong with that. But it's like I understand why they would prefer not to use the symbols. But in all honesty, who gives two flying shits? It's the fucking army.
Yeah, well, I can give you all another example of like the way we do things a bit differently is in Somalia. This wasn't actually my unit, but yeah, it was around the time when I was over there, and we was protecting a supply column. We'd actually got to the destination. This was about the time where the warlords would basically taking and stealing the supplies and using them for themselves and making the civilians starve. We tried to organise an organised line and all this, and assured people that there was plenty of supplies for everybody. But because they knew as soon as we'd leave that the warlords would just come in and take it all, they all tried to basically rip the trucks apart. And we had troops surrounding the trucks, and they were being overwhelmed by the amount of people that were there. And it literally got to a stage where we had rifles pointed at the crowd. And in any normal circumstance, any other country would have just opened fire, whereas we didn't. We tried to make the situation calm down, and all this. Even got a fucking translator and allowed Haler to assure the crowd that, like, yes, we were still going to hang around, make sure that they still kept their supplies and all this kind of stuff. And it was really like, I was sitting there thinking, shit, I'd hate to have been there, especially when I couldn't fire back, because like it was that kind of a case. So yeah, whereas other people would have fired or probably unleashed tear gas or other sort of public quelling devices, we sort of kept our cool for a lot longer than a lot of other people would.
Well, and is Drew there? Or do you go off for more cake?
No, I'm here.
Any thought?
Cake.
I mean, what are they going to do? Give them roses instead of guns next?
Well, I kind of actually knew some people who were like that.
And back on the topic of ethically murdering or killing someone, it's of the same vein of telling somebody to kindly fuck off.
My opinion is that you shouldn't, go kill a bunch of people or start a war unless you have to. But the moment you do, you don't do it half-assed. Because if you do, you're going to cost more lives in the long run. If you do it half-assed, you're going to stretch it out. And the longer the war lasts, the more people die. If you're going to do it, you do it. If you're not, you don't. But that's just my opinion on the matter. And this sounds like the kind of wishy-washy thinking that results in long, protracted conflict. Because...
Well, that results in loss of life. It's not the bad guys who are going to lose their lives. But then again, considering that we've just sided with ISIS by bombing fucking Assad, well, technically we are the bad guys, so... I still think Angus Campbell fucking saw that Mitchell and Webb skit and thought it was real.
Anyway, moving on. Costa Rican inmates used trained cats to smuggle cell phones into prisons.
What?
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, wow, I barely can get my cat to go into his cage when I feed him. But yeah, they've even got video of a cat being intercepted while trying to make its way into La Reforma prison in Alajuela. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. And apparently the cat had a strange parcel strapped to its chest and tied around its neck. The penitentiary staff caught him, cut open the package, and found a used mobile phone as well as a charger.
That's pretty clever, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there going, wow, how you managed to train a cat is beyond me.
Well, I can train. I've trained both my cats to shit outside.
I love how they this is like an upgrade from the narco pigeons that they caught smuggling in cocaine and marijuana.
Wasn't that just recently too?
Oh yeah, this is like a year ago. But I'm impressed. Any thoughts on this funny topic here?
I feel sorry for the rats because those poor buggers are next.
At any rate, moving on.
As long as they don't do with the rats what they did in Wanted, where they feed them a mixture of peanut butter and C4.
Oh, that was... Yeah, I gotta admit, that was a little over the top.
What did they do?
Movie, they fed the rats a mixture of peanut butter and C4.
Yeah, and the guy put bombs on like hundreds of rats and then unleashed them into the enemy base. And so at the predetermined time, all these rats with C4 inside them went kaboom, and you got to see flying, exploding rats everywhere. It was pretty bizarre.
That's
So
gross.
this was a movie, though, right?
Yeah, this was a movie. It was called Wanted.
Okay. All right. So I'm gathering they didn't have detonators in the C4.
No, they were around their necks. They were watches.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It was a movie about gun fu.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah,
If
like they were literally curving bullets. That's not like exploding rats is pretty normal compared to the rest of the movie.
Well, with C4, if you don't have a detonator with it and you try to sort of, I don't know, expose it to heat, all it'll do is burn. So that would have been even funnier, having burning rats running around.
Oh my god,
Setting fire to shit.
no. No.
The rats did
why-
not burn. They just
I really
exploded
appreciate
dramatically.
Rats being killed.
The C4 was the C4 was the secondary charge. There was a primary charge around their necks.
Yeah, that's the detonator, the primer.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
god.
That makes more sense.
Also, tonight we learned that Drew is also like a pyrotechnics, a amateur
Enthusiast.
pyrotechnic enthusiast. Yeah.
Well, moving on to proof positive Democrats are incredibly desperate here. Democrats sue the Trump campaign, Russia, and WikiLeaks over alleged election conspiracy. Now, usually you place the lawsuit after you've received some sort of proof that it happened. To start to sue before any... go ahead.
Yeah, they're taking their cues from what Trump has already done, like bombing Syria without the evidence.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But to be perfectly honest... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is up there with Russia trying to influence the election via flash games.
I mean, you got to understand the DNC is broke. And by the way, they're not suing Trump. They're suing Trump's campaign. So, they can't actually sue the president on this one. But they're trying to sue his campaign, which, honestly, I don't know what they expect to do. He
has no money. He's taking $1 a year salary as president, and then he does the same thing with his company.
Yeah, he's hemorrhaging money. People don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, the thing with his company is he just takes $1 salary, and then the company pays for his food and transportation and things like that. So
this whole suing all this kind of crap's starting to sound like this Cynthia, can't remember her last name, but she was in the Pentagon when it got hit on 9/11, and then she sued the airlines for a plane hitting the Pentagon, and then later on she sued the government because a plane didn't in fact hit the Pentagon.
Oh wait, no, a plane did hit the Pentagon, didn't it?
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, but that's the cognitive dissonance it's starting to look like.
If you got to understand, the law is nothing about good or evil, right or wrong, reality or fantasy. The only thing the law cares about is what is permitted, what is punished, and preserving the society. That's it. So, yeah, crazy lawsuits can win because reality has nothing to do with the law. It took me a long time to figure that out at one of my jobs, but there's but this is wrong. And they looked at me and gave me the favorite quote ever. Morally reprehensible, technically legal. Personally, I like it. So that was our attitude over at Fleet Bank.
I like that quote, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah,
in the future.
We should have had that on a plaque. That was basically our late stage motto.
Can we make T-shirts?
Yeah, I've been looking into that. We need to start making T-shirts.
We can put that.
I've got a good one. We are the unwilling, led by the unqualified, doing the unnecessary for the ungrateful.
I think that one's been done. But yeah, we
So
can
are
do
you
it.
a
But I
politician?
like it so much.
So you're a politician then?
Gotcha. At any rate, I'm going to go with what the Democrats are doing is nothing more than a PR stunt because I believe that the DNC is just completely boned. And as we learned yesterday, Trump has managed to is pretty much. I mean, it's not slam dunk yet, but I'm thinking that well before the midterms, we're going to find out that we're going to finally have an end to the over 60-year-long war in Korea. So I can't see the midterms are going to be amazing. CNN actually said he did a good job. Like,
Wait,
if that isn't one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, I don't know what is.
Did we like accidentally get transported into the Bizarro universe?
Yeah, we did.
It's the Mandela effect, I think.
Apparently.
Here's a great one. I loved it when I said. Hold on, just getting it centered. Egypt's Mufti issues fatwa against buying Facebook likes. That's right. In the religion of Islam, one of their religious leaders have declared that going out and buying likes for Facebook is a form of fraud and deception, and therefore not Muslim.
Ooh, fatwa, so scary. Hey, Salman Rushdie, how'd that fatwa affect you? Didn't at all. Thought so.
I think he hid for a few years, but overall...
Yeah, he's still alive, but...
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But, these days, if he had tried that crap, the progressives would have torn him apart. That whole satanic verses,
Arabs.
And
you wouldn't have to worry about the Arabs. He'd have he'd have bloody Antifa on his ass.
Any thoughts on the Muslims hate buying likes thing?
I mean, it kind of is a form of deception. But
If you're... How desperate do you have to be to buy Facebook likes?
Right.
That would actually be quite a number of news channels and other businesses.
Hilarious.
They do that.
That's a fair point, actually.
Because they say, hey, we're a big business. We need to look like we've got a lot of likes.
Yeah, that sounds like something that Cash Me Outside chick would be saying something like, I've got 1 million Facebook likes, you can't fuck me.
However, I don't know where it is, but I remember somebody showed me a webpage where you can go that says, and this webpage checks your Facebook account to see how many likes were from robots. And a lot of these businesses would be like between 40 and 60% robot.
Yeah, well, I can understand people getting bots to sub and like and shit on and view on YouTube, because back when you could get paid for it, that was something that you could do and get some monetary value. But like on Facebook,
you had to pay like $50 for it back then.
Oh yeah,
and the cost didn't exactly meet the payout.
Didn't stop idiots from doing it, but there was more of an incentive there. Like what do you get if you're a private citizen and you're getting 1 million likes on Facebook?
I think this is just one more nail in the coffin that Facebook is going downhill. Like,
Facebook started going downhill shortly after it went public.
Yeah, pretty much, because then it's always been about they have to make that money. And what is their business practice? They're spying on people.
Not publicly traded. I mean, like, when it stopped being just specifically a college thing.
Yeah, well, like, Facebook's a massive fucking bunch of hypocrites, because it just sounds like that they've been spying on everybody, but then Facebook stopped being useful to me when I couldn't stalk Sheila's anymore. I mean, look up my old friends.
Yes, it is just criminal what they're doing. Stopping all the stalkers.
Yeah, how dare they stop me from spying on everybody while they're fucking spying on everybody themselves, the fucking hypocrite bastards.
Yeah, if I want to spy on my ex-girlfriend, I should be able to.
Yeah.
And I should be able to buy all of her medical records and, whether or not she's had a prostate exam or anything like that.
What the fuck?
You could do that with Facebook.
I'm so
Do you know that if you have a Facebook app on your smartphone, it has access to everything on there? And there's an app that it downloads that is basically medical app, from what I heard. And here in New York State, we've got this stupid thing called My Care or something, where if you're in New York State, you got a smartphone, you get, Facebook, you basically give them permission to get your medical records. Which I'm going to save an entirely video all by itself when I go into that shit.
I'm just going to download hundreds of gigabytes of horse porn on my phone now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, ZooTube, go to that one. It's got all the good stuff. I mean, never mind.
GenkiGenki.com.
Unfortunately, I think you're probably right. There's a ZooTube out there. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. Don't ask me how, but I know.
And don't ask me what that website I just mentioned is.
He's just a learned man, a jack of all trades. I think jack was the wrong word to use.
Phrasing, please.
I'm so
Don't
done.
go to midgetfist.com either. But go to thelemonparty.com. That's a good one.
What the fuck?
Hey,
Check
It's
it
a
out,
lemon
Wendy.
party.
You love it.
hey,
Here, go
don't-
check it out. You'll love it.
I don't think
Hey,
you
baby,
need to
don't.
know. You don't.
You spin me right round, baby, right round.
What's a lemon party?
Go check it out. You'll love it.
No, you don't. You don't want to know. Resist the urge. Resist. This is not information that will bring you any joy.
Hey,
But she'll
guys,
never get the joke, though.
Now I have to.
She's
know
got to be in on the
it.
joke, but the joke has got to be told right. She's
Oh,
gotta
okay.
get the
Okay,
website.
shall we give you a second to Google it?
Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm doing it right now. God, you gotta stop. Hold on. Open Sesame. Hold on.
hey guys, look at the YouTube chat.
That gun skid.
That's
Why are
me.
you a skinning gun? That gun skid?
No, it's Guns Kid.
Oh, okay.
Long, super boring story.
Campbell, did you look up Lemon Party since you now have regrets?
Now, don't say what it is, because that's the joke. You just send people there and say it's really groovy.
What?
I think she got it.
Did the satisfaction
Okay, so
of knowing outweigh the pain of realization?
So there's this thing that we used to do when I worked at the movie theater back when smartphones first came out. If you left your smartphone on the table unlocked, you basically gave everybody permission to change your web browser homepage to Meatspin.
What the fuck is that?
Have you learned nothing? Have you learned nothing?
It depends on what day it was and who picked up your phone, whether it was Meatspin or Lemon Party.
What?
There's one guy who would change it to 2 girls, 1 cup.
Well, here's a story from the old fart. See, back in the day, you used to be able to call these sex lines, and if anyone left their phone behind, you just sit there fucking dialing in bloody sex line numbers and all this kind of shit, so it'll come up on their bill.
Bonus points.
Honey, what is 0055216999 hot black busty booby bum bums? What?
Oh, when I was working as bill collecting for the cable company, those pay-per-views, there were like people who would run up like $6,000 or $7,000 a month on these pay-per-view porn. And I would just be sitting there and going, this is all late fees, right? No, this is only 60 days past due. How do you get $5,000? Well, they said it was, well, I mean, some of those are like, $30 a pop. And they don't watch the movie all the way through.
They just watch it till they get their rocks off.
And I'm like, and then like, what? They do this 3 or 4 times a day? But yes, indeed. Yeah, without the late fees. That was the cable company was an odd place to work for.
But even back then, like X-Hamster and all that kind of shit was free.
Well, moving on. English Village has been rising by 2 centimeters every year, and nobody knows why. That's right. The people of Willand, a small village in Devon, UK, can say they're literally moving up in the world because every year the entire town rises up about 0.7 inches. And nobody can figure out why.
Literally moving up in the world.
I know why. Homer Simpson got put in charge of the sanitary services and he's just burying all the fucking rubbish under the town.
Hey, Jacob asked about what Lemon Party was. I'm gonna let.
He's got to go and check it out himself. Oh, hang on, he's really young, isn't he?
No, you don't want to. You don't want to know.
Yeah, no, you.
You don't. You don't want to know.
I'm actually. I have to.
Do you see this picture on the screen of Willand? See that black splotch in the center? That's what happened. Willand looked up Lemon Party. Okay.
It turned into a giant gaping hole.
That's all that happened. It just
It collapsed into its own asshole.
There was so much cringe, the entire town just imploded in on itself.
It collapsed into its own wrinkly bum hole.
The entire town turned into goatsy? What?
Yeah, the town turned into goatsy. Yes, indeed.
I can't handle any of you. I'm so done.
Moving on to Venezuela. EU says it may impose more sanctions on Venezuela if democracy is undermined. I'll sum it up for you. European Union, basically a bunch of commies, looked over at Venezuela and said, Dude, I know we're socialists, but dude, dial it back a notch. Your people are eating giraffes. Holy fuck. Dude.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit redundant to put sanctions on a country that has got really nothing in the first place. So, like, well, what are you going to stop us from doing? We're already eating the fucking giraffes.
Their fishing fleet has already turned into piracy. If oil prices doubled today, it would do no good because everybody who is an engineer, a lawyer, or in any way, shape, or form had even the slightest amount of marketable skills has already fled the country and been hired by Exxon, Mobil, all those other international oil companies because they realize the infrastructure for their oil manufacturing is completely rusted away and boned. You couldn't start this place back up even if you wanted to, and there isn't a single oil company that will move in to start up production because the last time they did that, the government socialized everything and stole all the equipment that the oil companies installed in Venezuela to create the infrastructure for their stupid oil. This country is boned. There is no hope. The only thing that can... Oh, go ahead.
In really bad places of Africa and all that, Shell and BP and all that actually used to hire fucking mercenary organisations, and they're now called private contractors. And yeah, like I bet you $10, even if friggin' executive outcomes still existed, they'd just go, yeah, Venezuela, you can get fucked, son.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, Maduro is an idiot. He's a former bus driver, and he hands out positions of authority to his friends and cronies who he knows are loyal. Problem is they have no idea how to actually run a country, and they've been sending it into the ground. Their people are starving to death. And honestly, I do like what Donald Trump is doing, which is ignore it. It's South America's problem. You guys allowed it to happen. You guys fix it.
Yeah, where's Che Guevara when you need him?
At any rate, any other thoughts on Venezuela?
Just an update. Jacob looked it up.
Oh, God.
Okay. Has his brain exploded yet?
Honestly, I don't know what you saw because I've never looked it up. I don't have that problem. When somebody says you don't want to know this, I go, you know what? You're probably right. And I just move on with my life. You can't tempt me with stuff like that. It doesn't work.
The thing is, I know what it is, but I've never seen it.
I checked it out for morbid curiosity. I wasn't really disturbed by it.
I did get redirected to Meat Spin once, though.
This one's great. No. Any rate. Campbell, no. Any rate. Father of nine divorces. They need a comma there. Wife after finding out he had been sterile for most of his life. Somehow, his wife had 9 children, and yet he found out from his doctor on a routine health checkup that was like, dude, you've probably been sterile since you're like 12. He said, that can't be right. I have 9 children. And that's when they said, nope, you got a cyst in your balls. There's no way you could have sperm coming out. It's like, holy shit. I don't know what I don't know what you do. I don't know. I mean, I would have said, okay, let's find out if the doctor's right and done. Pick 3 kids at random and done a DNA test just to make sure. Let's just make sure one of these 3 children are mine. We don't need to test all 9. I'm not that bad. But holy crap! Wow.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of like some of the blokes that you go on deployment with, and then they're 11 months into the deployment, and then they finally get the message that their wife's 5 months pregnant, and she thinks they're that dumb they're not going to figure it out. But I guess with this guy here, I'm wondering when it actually clicked. Was it the Asian kid, the Hispanic kid, the black kid, the Indian kid, or the other white kid that he didn't really know about?
Well, this was in Morocco. He was a Moroccan. And by the way, in his country, adultery is punishable by prison time.
Yeah, that's probably Muslim, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So, wow. Any thoughts before moving on? Because the next one's great.
You have 9 kids and not like get yourself checked out after the first couple.
Well,
Very trusting guy. Very trusting guy. Some guys, they just, willfully ignorant of what's going on around them. Blissful, I guess is the word. Moving on to Super She. After working in a world of tech bros, this woman founded a female-only island under the company name of Super She.
And
that's right.
These refugees find out, oh boy.
This woman, who apparently is a multi-millionaire and rich enough to casually buy an island and have a resort installed on it, is oppressed and kept down by men in the patriarchy. So she set up this spa, and I believe you can only get on the island if you know somebody who already has permission to go on the island. It's like high school at its worst. You know those female cliques where you have to be one of the cool kids to be in this clique? It's just like that. Now, here's a question for you, Wendy. If you got an invite to Super She Island, which would have no men, not even including men staff, to go to a wellness activities on the island, including yoga, meditation, farm-to-table dining, cooking classes, fitness classes, nature activities, and all the vegan food you can eat in Finnish spas and saunas. However, it's only going to be rich, pretentious women who are cool there. Would you go?
That's a really tough decision though, because honestly, like a spa thing sounds so awesome. Like all the good stuff sounded really, really good, but then you mentioned the pretentious women. I'm like, ooh.
And also farm to table, so that makes them even more pretentious.
That food, I'm sorry, but that food's going to be awful. Like there's going to be no flavor to it whatsoever. There'll be no salt, no fat, no nothing.
Yeah, I bet you don't even eat farm to table though.
I have.
I can't wait.
And I've never been a big fan of it.
Quoting South Park.
Oh, okay.
I so can't wait for all of these men of fighting age refugees fucking to find out about this island and go, there's no other men, no police, no security, no army, all just rich women who are totally defenseless? Fuck yeah, we're there, dude.
Quite possible, but here's the part of this that makes me think that this is doomed to failure. I mean, it isn't necessarily doomed to failure, but there was one thing that was a real trigger for me, and give me a She claims her main reason for this motivation is she's the CEO of her company, and she went to go on a meeting with a client with a group of men. She was the only woman there, and when she went into the room, the client shook the hand of one of her male employees thinking he was the CEO. And she's like, I can't believe that I have to deal with such sexism. And my answer is,
that is really sexist.
If you walked into a room and everybody didn't immediately know you were the CEO, you are doing it wrong. You are not projecting. You are not being a leader. If anybody else can steal the leadership from you when you walk into the room, you're doing it wrong. And so if she can't be a leader where she owns the company, I can see how this is going to go south. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of two female reps that came from a local winery into me shop a few years back, and just because I wasn't standing behind the counter, they decided to ignore me and talk to my underling, my employee. And I was sort of like, yeah, well, this, that, and the other thing. And they just looked at me like, who the fuck are you? Then went back to talking to Brad, and I said, all right, well, if you're going to ignore the owner, you can fuck off out of the shop. I'm not buying any of your shit. Oh, you're the owner? Oh. Yeah, too bad. See you later. So when women do it to men, is that supposed to be okay?
Well, no, isn't that the whole premise of Secret Owner or whatever, that show where they go in and fucking they go and check out their own company and they're the CEO, but nobody knows it? Undercover Boss. That's the name of it. Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah,
I will say this. I will say this. If you set up cameras all over this island and just recorded everything that happened, I will watch that reality show. Because this sounds like the most fascinating psychological test ever. You've got an island with nothing but women. And pretty high-powered rich women. You got $6,000 just to set foot on the island.
Yeah, Bear Grylls did that, and it didn't work out very well for him.
I just, because I don't want to wish them that it won't work out, but I'm really curious as to what would happen on this island. It sounds fascinating to me. Any thoughts before moving on?
The only
like
thought I
world's
have,
greatest dumpster fire.
I saw that I got promoted, Eldritch. Thank you.
No problem. You hang out enough. Shall we move on to Florida Man?
Yes. Florida Man, yes. Not the superhero we need, but the one we deserve.
Florida Man's own dashboard camera lands him in jail. Did you guys hear about this one?
No, and is Florida Man kind of like the superhero in Seattle?
No, he's just Florida Man. He's a man of many faces. But Florida Man here was, he was a burglar who apparently recorded his own burgling of a place on his own dash cam. Later, when he got cut off by another driver in a crash, and he said he could prove it with his dashboard camera, he signed a consent waiver and handed over the camera to the police so that they could go through it to get the evidence. While they were getting the evidence as to whether or not he had been cut off, they found the evidence of him performing a burglary. Awesome. I love Florida Man. Any thoughts?
Yeah, why is everything horrible always have to come out of Florida? I'm just saying.
I don't know. Florida Man is he's just everywhere, and he never does anything right.
Well, I can actually answer that question for you, because remember, Florida is where all these old Jews used to go and retire and all that. So it's full of Jews, and it's the Jews' fault,
Oh, the Zionist fucking example.
So my people are at fault. Gotcha. Alrighty.
Yeah, Florida Man.
I didn't know that about you, huh?
Only 2%, apparently. I'm 2% of an extremely rare strain of Jew.
No, we can't be friends anymore. Damn it! No,
I'm getting the confirmation from 23andMe. When that comes out, I will have a live stream just to review what minorities I am and what free stuff I'm going to get from Starbucks.
Florida Man is like Squirrel Girl, basically.
Oh, Squirrel Girl. Oh.
It's not the hero we asked for, but it's the one we've got. So,
wait, is Florida Man like that in Georgia? I mean, it's the same type of thing, right?
He just keeps screwing up. He's all over the place and keeps screwing up.
I definitely recommend r/Florida Man.
Oh yeah, all the best Florida Man is there.
If you have the time.
Anyway, shall we move on to naked Cheeto eating intruders?
Donald Trump impersonators?
Bob Mortimer hat wearers.
Homeowner finds naked intruder in her tub eating Cheetos. Monroe, Louisiana. A woman came home to discover a naked stranger in her tub eating her Cheetos while taking a bath. I'm glad he was at least taking a bath. It'd be weird if he was in an empty tub eating Cheetos naked. At least there was some water in there with him.
Go on vacation?
No. Why does my home state have to have this story? No, Louisiana. Stop it.
Hang on.
But here's the
Did
thing.
you read it somewhere? I might have read it wrong.
It was a
Was
woman.
the intruder a female?
Oh, yeah, but it was a 29-year-old Evelyn Washington. So a woman came home to find a naked woman eating her Cheetos in her bathtub. The odd thing is this is almost similar to something that happened at my job about a year ago. I don't want to get into the details. Any thoughts from Cheeto Woman?
Yeah, once again, why Louisiana? Like, why? Can't it be fucking Wisconsin? I mean,
I think it's what's that weird disease that kills your unborn children that came up from South America and the mosquitoes?
Abortion?
No, the Zika virus. It's the Zika virus.
Oh my god.
The Zika virus is driving everybody insane down in the southern states.
It's idiocracy coming true.
I can't handle this. I'm done with all you.
Sorry, Wendy. Sorry.
No.
I love how you slipped that in there perfectly.
That was perfect, though. It was great. That was just,
I have no picture of her, Jacob, but I suspect if she was naked in a bathtub eating Cheetos at an age of 29, no. No, I do not think she was good looking.
Abortions in. You're supposed to scrape abortions out, aren't you?
You put your first scratch in, you put your first...
Slipping it in is how you get to the point where you need an abortion.
Oh, dear.
I'm seeing like a version of abortion and hokey pokey firming in my head, but the abortion hokey pokey, I shouldn't be. No, I got to put that idea out of my head.
Oh my
right
god.
now.
Yeah, speaking of scrambling
You
raw
scrape
eggs.
your way in and you scrape your way out. You scrape your way in and then you scrape it all about. I'm sorry. I have had no sleep, everybody. I think I've been 4 hours and 40. So, okay. Moving on to, I did every cliched manly activity to see if it boosts my testosterone. I ate raw eggs, shot a gun, and got tattooed in my quest to figure out if machismo is bullshit. From everybody's favorite website, Vice.
Well, he didn't do a couple of things, so this is why he didn't become manly. He didn't get a Sheila out of wedlock up the duff and then push her down the stairs to kill the baby.
What?
Oh, I thought we were talking about abortions here.
No, we're moving on to a soy boy over at Vice who started doing all these cliched masculine things. And
soy boy.
Yeah, and...
But if he does all this stuff still wearing a dress, it's not really going to give him any testosterone.
I see. The problem is I don't think that this guy really understands what being a man's about. Because in the end, being a man is what, if you go to every culture, every rite of passage from boy to man has one thing in common. Whatever that rite of passage is, it's got one thing: the ability to endure suffering. Either you're drinking a ton, you're trudging the 1,000 miles, you're hunting down a bear and killing it with your teeth, or some bullshit like that. But whatever it is,
you can.
Yeah, you stay up for 21 hours, you stay up for 2 or 3 days or something. It's something that involves pain, and you endure it, and then afterwards they go, you're a man. Being a man isn't doing all this shit. You could be a child and still do all this shit. You could be like 50 years old and still be a child. I mean, hey, look at Farty. Sorry. Sorry. I had to slip that in there. But, I mean, the point is that to be an adult, to be a man, is to take responsibility, not to eat raw eggs or shoot shit. Like, maybe you need to do that, but you do it for a purpose, not because I need my testosterone up. I'll save you the read. This guy didn't get the point. It didn't get any results, and I think it's mostly because he himself just doesn't have the right mindset to be an adult, much less a man. That's just my thoughts. Any thoughts on this guy?
Yeah, my excuse for being childish now is that I'm so fucking manly. I've been so fucking manly all my life, and I missed out my childhood, so I'm now into my senile years where I can be a child, and you've
earned the retirement.
Shit in the bed and having me nappy changed.
He's earned the retirement, folks. And the problem is this misrepresentation. And it's actually something I've started with some of the clients that I really like when I do it. It's like when I tell them, you can be responsible. You can have pride in yourself by doing stuff and achieving goals. And I'm starting to think at them going, really? Nobody ever told me I could be responsible. They all said I could be whatever I wanted to be. And, it's don't grow up too fast. It's like, dude, you're 38. It's okay to grow up now. Being an adult's great. I love being an adult. Being adult's fun. Don't slam being an adult. Being a child kind of sucks. You'll turn into this
Eldritch,
guy.
I haven't talked to you in a while. Are you going to go more in depth on that fucking insurance company, dude?
Yeah, I'm still researching it, so I'm planning on a video just about them. I'm trying to reach out to a couple of former employees because I'd like to get some details on some of these guys who posted on the internet about how much EVI course sucks. But I haven't heard anything back from them, so I might be just doing what research I can get off of web pages.
Okay,
but I have not forgotten these people. I'm turning over every rock on these cockroaches.
No, I'm sorry to deviate it, dude. It's just your wife and stuff. I'm like, dude,
Oh,
I hope everything's okay.
Oh, by the way, yeah, she's getting out on Tuesday. They said she was going to be in for a month. My wife is the very definition of straight line movement. She is a type A plus personality. They had to put a bed alarm on her chair so that she couldn't stand out without them hearing it, so they could rush in to tell her, you don't have permission to stand on your own. And she goes, yes, but she wants to do things. She wants to exercise. She wants to get out of this. Her left leg's still kind of screwed up, but it's mostly, I think it's a communication issue. I think having your spinal cord turned into a pancake is the problem.
Well, I wish all the best for you and your wife. I'm married also. Today's my wife's birthday, actually.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, dude. I hope. Yeah, happy birthday, honey. There, see, I told her. But no, I was really sad when I heard that shit. Like, your family and everything, and then this company is like in this evil fucking corporation. Like, that pisses me off.
The irony is, I kind of did a similar thing back when I was a bill collector. We used to have a chop shop set up. Basically, we'd be four-man teams down we'd rent half of the building at a time. And when the lawsuits or the heat was too much for any one four-man team, that company, which was only those four guys, would disappear. And then we'd just move across the hallway to another room, set up. It'd take about 15 minutes. And everything would be transferred over except we'd be a new company. They just added like an 1 or an A or the next number up. And that's what EVI Core does. That's basically what EVI Core is. They when the heat gets on too much, they'll just disappear and take all the lawsuits with them.
Well, yeah, it's like a shitty telemarketing company, right?
Yep, except in this case, you're calling them, they're not calling you, and you are begging for the right to live, and can we please do something about the cancer in my, husband's brain? Yeah, they're evil. Anyway.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry I digress so much, Eldritch.
No, that's what we're here for, the digression and the ranting. Shall we move on to India?
Oh, lordy, yes, please.
Would you like to squishy at the Quickie Mart?
Hello, I'm calling from your internet providings to receive your providings. Is the providings that you've been providings, and to make sure that you want to have some providings that is better. We have 40 gigabytes. Your speed is only 8 gigabytes.
Party. I pressed 1 for English, you cunt.
India institutes death penalty for child rape in wake of 8-year-old's brutal death. How can I help you? Welcome to Squishy Mart. Ooh, bad word.
So the death penalty, are they going to make them sit with a headset on their heads and just take fucking telemarketer calls all the rest of their life until they just commit suicide?
Wait a minute, though. No, why would a country that believes in reincarnation institute the death penalty? Isn't that ridiculous? Or is it going to be
what's ridiculous is that they pretty much already had the death penalty. They just made it for younger girls. And they used to be death penalty for gangbang. Now it's death penalty for rape of children of a certain age. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. They've got a backload of thousands of cases. There are people who've been waiting 11 years after being raped when they were 13 for their case to make it to court.
Well, that's all, of course, if the fucking useless ass coppers could actually do their fucking jobs and find some of these criminals.
Well,
Because
no,
that's
it's
also a
okay.
thing too.
Oh, no, these are places where they know who the criminal is. They went to the cops and said, I saw the guy, here he is.
It doesn't matter though, Eldritch. We could just charge them in their next life, okay? It's fine.
That's not how reincarnation works, though.
Well, that's how karma works.
I'm
But
being a cunt, Wendy. I'm being a cunt.
But I mean, the problem isn't that. The problem is that part of me is going, we need to have these men go through courts fast. And I'm going, wait a minute, isn't that what they're doing in Canada? Where if they decided it takes too long to convict men, so they've got special rape conviction courts that streamline the process? Where the burden of proof is on the man to prove he's innocent, not guilty. And I'm like going, you know what? I understand the system's completely borked, but making fast-tracking courts doesn't sound like a solution. I don't know what they're going to do over there. I really don't. I think it's a lot more. I think in India it actually is a case of systemic, where their country does have problems with racism and sexism.
No,
Well,
okay,
this
so,
is another
so guys,
thing.
I looked it up. That actually is how due process works. So they're in the clear.
Well, here's something with a country with that kind of a religion, where it's non-violent protest and turn the other cheek. I think they mistook the term turn and replaced it with spread.
Gotcha. That's the crickets, man. Any rate, yeah, a little too bad. But that said,
Spread the other cheek.
this is just a Band-Aid. This is just saying, hey, I mean, it's like, hey, we've made it even worse on drug dealers. It's like, no, but you're not actually fixing the problem. You're just, trust me, when the drug dealers were going, hey, I'm going to sell drugs, and you said, it's going to be 10 years in jail, and then you went, now it'll be 20. There's all these drug dealers out there who went, oh, well, I was willing to go to jail for 10 years, but 20, oh, that's too much. Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to be raped. I'm going to be killed for raping. Oh, well, yeah. No, trust me.
Illegal. I'm not going to shoot people now.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, jeez.
I don't.
Yeah, that's the redundant part about having the death penalty for shooting someone in America. It's sort of like, well, okay, there's still people on death row for shooting people. For criminals that broke the law. That's kind of what criminals do.
I don't have an answer, but I'm pretty sure this is just, bread and circuses at this point. Any final thoughts?
In a lot of cases, especially in India, mob justice does usually solve this a hell of a lot quicker. Maybe they should just go back to that. You rape my daughter, I'll get all my cousins and fucking beat the crap out of you.
Well, the goal is for them to kind of get out of the dark ages, but it wouldn't surprise me if the system continues to falter that's going to happen more and more. Like, if people are going to go, yeah, I know it's barbarous and it's not due process and it's wrong, but it works. So.
Yeah, they need flushing toilets to get out of the dark age first.
No, because even in the Dark Ages, they technically had flushing toilets. Well,
yeah, they just didn't have that little turn and escape valve that kept the fumes from backing up. Any rate. Japanese engineer builds 28-foot tall functional Gundam mecha robot that you can buy for $93,000.
Hey, Bob, can I borrow $93,000?
If I had $93,000 to spare, I would totally buy this thing. It comes with a cannon that fires sponge balls at a speed of 87 miles per hour.
What?
Wow.
What is a sponge ball? Is that like
it's like a Nerf ball about the size of your head.
What?
It's a Nerf ball the size of your head.
Guys, please donate to my new GoFundMe. Buy Drew a Gundam.
I have a Patreon.
And it's huge. I mean, it's the guy standing next to it, and it is like... It's like 5 times taller than a human being, or he's a really short dude. I'm not sure which, but oh my God.
Gundam, I was more of a Robotech fan, Wake me up when they build a full-size working model of the SDF-1. Yeah.
Oh, it comes with control panels, and that's pretty awesome looking. Oh, well, I just thought this was neat to go. They built a smaller one that's like only 80 pounds. It's just an exoskeleton. It doesn't do much, but it looks cool. So there's a cheaper model if you need it. But this is the one that's like, 3 stories tall and shoots foam balls the size of your human head. Which I'm sure you could modify to shoot actual human heads if you wanted to.
Yeah, so what are you going to do with that thing? Oh, I'm going to park it on my front lawn and point it at the fuckwit neighbour across the road.
Now the one that I've been waiting for. Man believes prescription painkillers turned him gay. 23-year-old man from Lincolnshire in the UK claims that taking a prescription painkiller has caused him to lose sexual attraction to women and become interested in med. Specifically, pregabalin, also known as Lyrica, after breaking his foot in a go-karting accident. Before he knew it, he stopped finding his girlfriend of 6 months, or any other woman for that matter, attractive, and started craving male attention instead.
Yeah, but have a look at this bloke. I'm pretty sure he was catching and pitching well before he took the pain meds.
Well, no, Eldritch,
he accidentally got the
right?
CIA's gay bomb.
Quite possibly.
Eldritch, you know cabbage, right?
Yes,
Totally cabbage.
I know cabbage.
It's cabbage.
That looks like cabbage. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
No, the guy is cabbage. I'm just saying.
By the way,
right here.
I love the
My
company
bad.
that supplies the drug. Pregabalin Walk Hard. At first, I thought it was a joke. I thought this was from
Walk
4chan.
Hard?
Yeah, there's an actual drug company called Walk Hard with a T on the end. But you look at it, it's rock hard. This is from 4chan, isn't it? This is fake. This is no. There's an actual Walk Hard drug company that makes Lyrica.
No. It's
Bloody
English.
hell.
It's English. It's a Japanese company. They just tried to spell rock hard, but rock hard.
I just want to know if I give Lyrica to gay men, do they become super gay? Like, do they give them like the Super Saiyan of gay people?
Rock hard, Eldritch. Rock hard.
They'll be rock hard. Give them the Lyrica, and suddenly they become Super Saiyan gays or super gayin. With the glowing hair. And they shoot. Well, I wanted to say plasma, but
Yeah.
that kind of got away from me there. I don't like where that was going.
My theory on this is that, I'm pretty sure he was a bit bent before he fucking tried this, and it was sort of like, bum sex is a bit painful, and he's tried that stuff and then tried bum sex with him. Oh, no, it's not painful anymore. Oh, I like bum sex. Oh, hey, I'm gay. And no cunt fucking sample that last little imitation either.
For the record, by the way, this is the only man on the planet who has made the claim. So if you're thinking that Lyrica, that there's more than one case, there isn't. So, anyway, moving on. Go ahead.
Yeah, do we have to move on? I mean, if you look at the weird shit on Pornhub, you got guys that like to get pegged. I mean, are they taking Lyrica? I mean, can we do a study on this, Eldritch?
I don't have the time for it, but I'd be interested in it.
No, we don't have to, because apparently the Ugandan government's already done this. No, I'm not going to go on a Ugandan knuckles rant, but there's that famous bit of footage where there's that Ugandan priest that he's trying to convince a group of people that, the gay people, they take these drugs to have the bum sex, and then that's the famous eat the poo-poo one.
Like ice cream.
You do not know the gay. You do not know the gay.
Poo-poo.
You do not know the gay. You do not go know the gay. I know the gay, but you do not go to. I will show you the gay.
No. I knew I was a YouTuber when my 12-year-old son came home and goes, "Do you know D-Way?" I'm like, "I know D-Way." We already talked about that on the Red Eye, son.
Gay Knuckles. Gay Ugandan Knuckles. He takes Lyrica.
He knows the way to eat the poo-poo.
Ugandan Knuckles?
You gay Knuckles. The memes just keep mutating around here.
That's right.
They spit the poo-poo.
How to be superhuman. Apparently you eat only fruit. Man claims that eating only fruit for 8 years has made him superhuman, and that he can somehow convert nitrogen in the air into the protein he needs. Or you're going the same way as Steve Jobs, who did this same diet and got cancer in his pancreas because he ate nothing but fruit, and it overloaded his pancreas and killed him.
No, this is totally vegan gains, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is some Chinese Japanese guy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, fruit's
Fruit
an old-timey
muziki.
term for a gay person, so he's eating the fruit, he's eating gay people.
Yeah,
And you
that's
know
where
what
he's getting
happens when
his
they say eating the gays?
That's where he's getting his protein from.
He has a wok-hard glory hole. That's racy lacism, I'm sorry.
That was a good callback, though.
Not only has he been thriving on his all-fruit diet, but he claims to have evolved into a superhuman. This guy is missing some serious enzymes, and he's gone completely insane.
I'm going to make a prediction right now.
Scurvy? Is he getting enough salt in his diet?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because he's eating the fruits. There's a lot of salt in that, apparently.
He's not fucking scurvy, right? He's going fucking crazy.
He eats the salt of all the people who can't believe that he's surviving on only fruit.
He becomes a vampire at night.
My salty tears. That's what's going on.
He goes out at night and drinks the bones of others or something. I don't know. I don't know how you drink a bone, but he does.
Make a quick prediction. And next week on Eldritch Rants, we're going to be talking about the stupid Chinese bastard who died from only eating fruit.
Fucking A. And he probably killed his dog, that cunt. Like video games. Feeding his fucking dog nothing but vegetables. Are you fucking stupid?
You know what I think he's doing?
Goddamn retard.
He's going to make a book about this, and he's going to sell it, and he's going to try and make money and become a cult leader and, have sex with 14-year-olds.
No. I have a shitty little Chihuahua fucking dog, all right? He's my son's dog, not mine. I prefer real dogs. But he eats fucking meat, all right? Dogs eat meat, you cunt.
I suspect that he's probably faking, and he probably on the side was going out and sneaking some cheeseburgers or something. But because otherwise he'd be nuts. You do go insane if you do not get enough protein. Human beings are remarkably inefficient eaters.
I'm going to use my favorite vegetarian thing here, but bacon. How can you be vegetarian when bacon exists?
Oh my god, BLTs,
that's right.
Go fuck yourself. I will convert you from fucking being a Muslim with a BLT. Fuck off.
I will say this, tuna fish just hasn't tasted the same since they started taking out all the dolphin.
I know that dolphin was good, right, Eldritch?
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's like the stuff that has no glutens in it. By the way, do you know that Triscuits are basically gluten? Triscuit is wheat, canola oil, and salt. It is just fried gluten.
You need the tomato basil ones.
No, I like the plain gluten. I like my gluten fried with salt. That's how I like my gluten.
No, eat some Cheez-Its like a real man. You don't need a Triscuit. What the fuck are you?
Triscuits are great.
Oh yeah, I love Triscuits.
If I want tomato in my crackers, I'll eat.
Wedgie, I was talking about being a man. I'm sure you like Triscuits, and that's okay.
You know what? You can just shut up.
Fair enough.
I'm betting this Chinaman fella is going to do something stupid like, I can climb Mount Everest because I've got a bloody fruit diet, like that fucking idiot bloody vegan that died a couple of months ago.
He's going to sell his diet in a book. He's going to sell his own special buy my fruit frozen shit that you put in your freezer and you eat and you follow my plan. He's going to collect his money. Somebody's going to die. He's going to run for the hills.
Frozen fruit is disgusting.
I'm sorry, Eldritch, but really, that's all it's good for is mixing with vodka.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, let's make it official. Vegetables are not food. They are what you feed to food, okay?
No,
there, I said it.
Vegetables have feelings too.
Do they? Well, they kind of do, actually.
I was going to say...
That's a different subject.
And they can talk to each other and they can kill everybody if you're in a Shyamalan movie.
No, seriously, trees, like when a fire starts on one end of the forest, they send a message through the roots, man. It's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say tomatoes when you said vegetables are bad, but tomatoes are technically a fruit, so...
Anyway.
Tomatoes are awesome, by the way. They go with BLTs.
Shall we move on to developing Me Too news? I mean, It's pretty obvious. Me Too has rich men wary of extortion. But apparently there's a new trend in New York City where rich men are paying to have concealed cameras put all over their apartments, like in every room, everywhere, except the bathroom, apparently. And if they have any guests over, they turn on the cameras.
Well, I mean,
and it's stored somewhere you can't alter it.
But I don't want cameras in my bathroom watching me dump out.
I assume they don't have them in the bathroom, but they have them everywhere else so that, if a woman comes over and then later goes, does whatever it was to that one comedian guy. I mean, oh, God, that was horrible. She, everything she described in there about, oh, he molested me and took advantage of me and stuff, and you're looking at her account and you're going, no, this is where you said no and he stopped. And then you're the one who started it up again. I mean, what? He followed all Aziz, the comedian Aziz. He followed all the rules.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
He was really creepy, but I still sucked his dick. And then, he was really creepy again, but I still fucked him. And then he was really creepy, but I still hung out for the rest of the night. But he was really creepy, you see.
I mean, to be fair, Aziz is a pretty creepy dude.
Oh, yeah, he's creepy as hell. Why you went with him anywhere is beyond me. But you did go with him. But I just wanted to point this out that when I saw this, it's like, I can't afford 6 cameras in my home. But the very fact that there are more and more technology execs deciding that, you know what, just to be sure, I better put cameras all over my apartment just in case a woman ever comes over and tries to accuse me of raping her. What sort of mindset is developing? This is how a war of the sexes actually starts. When you look at every woman as a danger, that you can't work together under those conditions. You can't. So, any thoughts before moving on?
I mean, it's just the natural progression. It was a good thing when it started, and then the idiots took over.
Hold on.
One.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, well, taxation is theft.
Actually, I don't have the article to put up, so hold on a second. I briefly want to talk about the whole Starbucks thing. You guys are familiar with this?
Yeah.
You know what? I've looked into it a lot, and I want to point something out to people. This wasn't racism.
Wait. What's Starbucks?
The 2 black guys got arrested in a Starbucks for loitering.
Yeah, and their lawyer was issuing a statement within an hour of them being arrested.
Here, let me go for you. 2 black guys who are, one of them's wearing stretch pants that doesn't even have a back pocket for a wallet, and it's untied, so the strings for his stretch pants are kind of hanging down. His hair's all scruffy. Basically, him and his friend look kind of like bums. They come in off the street and say to the Starbucks, hey, can we use your bathroom? And Starbucks goes, bathrooms are for patrons. You have to buy something. And they go, we're not buying anything. We're waiting for a friend. And they go, okay. And then they go into the corner. Some time passes. The manager comes over and goes, hi, would you like to buy something? Because this is for patrons. And this is New York City. It's busy as hell. You sitting there occupying 2 seats is costing them money. Okay, so buy a freaking pack of gum for 35 cents. No. So the manager goes, you know what? Calls the police. Says 2 people will not leave my premise. It is my business, private place. Cops show up and say, hey, buy something or leave. And they go, no. 3 times the cops say, buy something or leave. And they go, no. So the cops arrest him and drag him away. And then within an hour, their lawyers are announcing that, releasing a statement about racism, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. If you're listening to the narrative, they're going, this all happened in 2 minutes. They went from walking in the front door to being arrested in 2 minutes if you listen to CNN.
No, and you can kiss my rebel ass. No, it's not fucking racism, you stupid cunt. It's called loitering, and you're fucking there, not buying anything, trying to take a piss in the bathroom, and
it's
who
called
knows
baiting.
what you're gonna do.
Well, actually, no, there was discrimination. It wasn't racism, and I can prove what it is with 3 questions. Okay, question number 1. Everything's the same, right down to the clothes and the words spoken. There's only 2 changes. You replace these two guys with Morgan Freeman and Wesley Snipes. Do you think the cops would be called on them? I think the answer is no. I don't think anybody would call the cops on Morgan Freeman and Wesley Snipes for loitering in your place, right?
Well,
I mean,
replace the people with me, with my 6 foot tall, 220 pound white ass. Do you think they would have called the cops on me? The answer is yes. So they call the cops on a black person.
I'm going to get to that.
Just loitering.
I'm going to get to that, actually. I'm going to get to that.
I think what you're saying more is like they didn't have money.
Oh, no, that's question number 2. If you kept everything the same, but you put them in $3,000 suits with Rolex watches and $100 Italian shoes, do you think they would have gotten the cops called on them? Hell to the no. If they looked like they had money, they would not have had the cops called on them. They look like scruffy bums. Now, here's question number 3, and this is the one that's the clincher. If everything was exactly the same, but this was 2 black women, would the cops have been called? Or would that female manager, and I looked her up, she's kind of the feminist, do you think she would have said, well, I know you're not patrons, but hey, why don't you just use the bathroom out of pity? They weren't discriminated against because they were black. They were discriminated against because they looked like bums and they were men. And the manager thought of them as disposable and not worth anything to her.
Eldritch, I have a story that actually is comparable to this, all right? So me and my best friend were kicked out of our house, right? So literally I was kicked out and he left on principle because we're best friends, and his, after that, ex-girlfriend was a cunt. But we left and we had everything we owned in a shopping cart, dude. But I had money. I had like over $1,000 in my wallet. I had money. No, we rolled up to fucking McDonald's, right? I go in, I buy food for me and him, and I go use the bathroom. He's sitting outside with our stuff. You know what happened? Within 30 seconds, he was told to leave because he looked like a bum, even though we have over $1,000 and we're white. So how is this a racist issue? It's an issue against homeless people.
Yeah.
Well, men are traditionally disposable. We are the human doings, not the human beings. And there's a reason for it, and I'm not complaining about it. Because in many ways, it's why society functions, okay? Because if men weren't driven to do things and men don't do things, things don't get done. So it's just the way things are. But the problem is it does also lead to the situations where, yeah, I've got $1,000, but I don't look like I got $1,000. That person's dangerous. Get rid of them. It's
a pretty woman situation.
Yeah, it's in many ways it's discrimination, but it's not discrimination based on race. It's based on prejudice and what can you do for me. It's just selfishness. So I don't even know if it's like bigotry. It's just like
bringing up that thing about the Morgan Freeman thing and Wesley Snipes. Yeah, well, since Wesley Snipes has been arrested in jail for tax evasion, yeah, sure. And just because you're Morgan Freeman doesn't mean you're going to get recognised. Remember, who's that other black actor? Fucking bloody Samuel L. Jackson got mistaken for Morgan Freeman, didn't he?
No, but Farty, taxation is theft. Wesley Snipes did nothing wrong.
Hey, also, can I point out that they asked to use the bathroom? You don't go into a place asking to use the bathroom.
It's locked.
On it. No, see, this is a thing, Drew.
You need the passcode.
Yeah, exactly. What? In Philly, like every place has a fucking passcode.
In New York City, they have a passcode on their toilets, and you can't use it without them giving you the passcode, and it gets changed every day.
I didn't know that. I live in Oregon, dude. We don't have passcodes, dude.
I mean,
if you go to a place where crazy people don't come into your restaurant on a regular basis, and there aren't people who might rob you or try to molest children in your bathroom, then you don't put a lock code on your bathroom doors. But when you're in a city like New York City, full of insane people, you put locks on your bathrooms because people get killed in there, and then you're financially responsible.
That explains why when I was in Detroit the other day, I had to ask them to unlock the bathroom for me.
That was so funny.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Was this so the junkies don't overdose and all that shit in there?
Yeah, kind of in Philly. Yeah, actually. We were talking about this on Man Streaming. and creepy little book. He's really cool. Check him out. But he was talking about like, yeah, they'll go in there and they'll fucking do heroin and overdose. I get that. Here in Oregon, we don't have the passcode thing. We do have keys though for at like gas stations, you know, because homeless people will go in there and rub shit all over the wall just to be cunts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most servos out here.
Must have been a different area to Philly than I was in.
Also, they've got purple fluorescent lights in there, so it's harder to find a vein.
That's fucked.
Actually, since you mentioned that suddenly explains all the bathrooms I've been in when I was a truck driver, where I was like, man, this is the worst freaking fucking lighting in the place. I can't, like, you know, brush my teeth in the freaking mirror. I look like I'm freaking dead.
Yeah, that's why they do it.
Oh, wow. Suddenly that blue lighting makes sense now. Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
by the way, on the East Coast, they were in all the bathrooms were blue. I always thought it was weird. Everything had that blue tinge to it. You know, like the movies where everything's blue, where they do that, you know, like in, I don't know, Underworld.
The blue filter?
Yeah, they got the blue filter and everything. It's like that.
It's also why most torture chambers and old hospitals have that weird lime green paint on the walls. It actually helps cover the blood stains.
Yes, you learn so much here at Eldritch God's Cavalcade of Banality. At any rate,
Don't ask me how I know all of that, though.
Yeah, we don't want to know. Any rate, any other thoughts and comments? Because I just wanted to address this. This wasn't racism. If it's a form of discrimination, but you know, it's a form of discrimination based on the owner of the shop was greedy and did not see a profit in these customers. That's it. That's what the discrimination is. Okay.
Well, I'm not sure about over in America, but here, if you deny someone the use of a bathroom, it actually comes under the deprivation of basic human rights.
Not in New York City. They don't give about that. Yeah, you can hold it or piss on a wall.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
well,
you can't piss on the wall. That's the fucking problem. And
Well, yeah. I mean, you'll get arrested, but
exactly. No, you won't let us use the bathroom because we have to buy $1 fucking soda, but we don't have $1. But you won't let us piss in the alley away from people either because that's public urination. And
It's only illegal if you get caught.
No, you can end up a sex offender.
Oh no, there's public bathrooms. I was in New York City once. You have to go down into the subway. And trust me, after using one of those,
Even Coffee with Comment told me there's not really any public restrooms in Philly. Like,
well, Philly, I can't speak for, but in New York City there was, but you had to get to a subway station, and it's a hell of a walk between subway stations. And honestly, it's the kind of place where you flush the toilet with your foot.
Mm-hmm.
No, there do exist public bathrooms in Philly, though, if you know where to look.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like one of those things, but
it's not Tim Hortons. What's one of the other big coffee chains? Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh yeah,
Dunkin' Donuts. I stopped in and had a bathroom that wasn't locked.
Discrimination against minds doesn't exist. Yes, I discriminate against people's minds all the time.
I was on one of the 4 college campuses in Philly at that point, so.
What about McDonald's? They should have public dunny in there. And they should be more numerous than everything else.
I actually did not see too many McDonald's when I was in downtown Philadelphia.
Yeah, actually, that's what Coffee said. There's not really a McDonald's in downtown.
You want to know what's weird about McDonald's?
Fast food in downtown Philadelphia.
McDonald's,
there's tons of food carts, though.
McDonald's and Burger King, they're kind of like fleeing the ghetto parts of Syracuse. Like,
well, yeah, I just saw a video on YouTube the other day where it's in downtown Detroit, and they did go to a Macca's, and it there's no seating area at the front. There's just basically like just a small room where you can walk up to an armored window with bars and shit. It's like, fuck, why would you even work there?
Yeah, I mean, when I start to think that McDonald's and Burger King are too upscale for downtown Syracuse, I start getting a little worried about walking around here at night. Anyway, any more thoughts on this? On the obvious, but these guys are going to try and milk this for money. And my thing is that Starbucks already made the mistake. They apologized. So whatever happens to them, they deserve it. These idiots want to apologize when they did nothing wrong. Fine. I hope they get sued into oblivion. I hope Starbucks implodes, because if you don't have a spine, you don't deserve to stand. Any more
Also,
thoughts?
they destroyed my favorite tea company. So,
Well, they did also shoot themselves in the foot, because there is another. I did sort of watch a bit of another video on YouTube where a black fellow did go into a Starbucks and basically said to the little white chiller behind the counter, "Did you see that on the news? I need to get me reparation-free coffee." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, didn't you see that? These two guys got kicked out, so now Starbucks is giving all black fellas a free coffee arbitrary." She's, "Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
actually, that was 4chan.
We're not like that and all that."
4chan made that coupon and released it, and it went viral. And then this guy walked in and said, "Did you see that coupon?" and managed to browbeat them into giving him a free coffee without the coupon.
Yeah, and she just fucking collapsed like a deck of cards straight away.
Well, it's because she went through their new sensitivity training.
Oh yeah, when I'm listening to this girl and said, "You definitely are majoring in women's studies. You look like you worship the 1960s. I bet you use chipuli oil to try and cover up this fact that you don't like bathe very much."
She drank the Kool-Aid.
I have a question for you guys.
Shoot.
It sounds like you're trying to move off of that topic anyway, Eldritch. How do you feel about these blood sports? Is it just a superficial argument, like I would argue? And I did on my channel the other day. I got a little mad at somebody, and I ranted. And, whatever. I stand by it. I believe that the blood sports thing is a fake-ass wrestling ploy, and it's all fucking superficial and no real argument. And when you look at a show like the Red Eye stream, like what I do, yeah, we read the news, but then we go in depth about it, and yeah, we might scream, but we're arguing actual points, and we have more than a superficial knowledge of the political implications of said story. You know what I mean? We're not just yelling and calling somebody a cunt or a pedo. You know what I mean? How do you guys feel about that?
What do you mean by blood sports?
I'm really tempted to shout out all sorts of insults at you and kick you off the Discord just for a joke, but it wouldn't be very appropriate. But fact of the matter is that I think you're kind of right on that. A blood sport is basically a YouTube thing that's been coming up where basically 2 or 3 or a group of people come on to just scream at each other. There's no coherence. It's just who comes up with the best insults and who is the coolest, and people go on because
the way I deal with trolls.
Yeah, but basically it's 2 trolls going at it. And
that sounds like great fun.
I tried to watch 1 or 2 of those, but I found myself sitting there and going, I could be playing video games.
That's why you just put it on in the background while you play video games.
No, when you play The Long Dark, you can't do that because you need to hear every creak, every footstep, because trust me, you step around any corner, there's a wolf there, and it is going to bite your nuts off.
That's a fair point.
Other games you could do that. I could do that with Borderlands. Borderlands, I could do that all day long.
Oh, Civ 5. I need to sit down and play some more Civ.
Oh, do you? Dude, I will play you at Civ. I love Civ 5.
But that said, yeah, the blood sport thing, I think it's like modern wrestling, Any other thoughts from anybody else?
Well, it could be worse. It could be.
It's not me, so go ahead, guys.
Could be worse. Modern wrestling could be just like the UFC, which I think is just X-rated or R-rated gay porn.
Well, that's funny, because my argument would be the Red Eye stream is UFC compared to the Kumite, which is WWF, where they're arguing just superficial bullshit, and we're going actually into depth into fucking actual arguments about political ideals. If you actually watch my show, we argue a lot, but we're also friends. We hang out off air. I mean, so it's not like I'm inviting somebody on to call them a cunt and tear them down. You know what I mean?
Hold on, wait. Was it like that one day where we were all just sitting there and just discussing topics, not actual news events? It was just the hot button topics, and then we had that big long discussion about it, and nobody actually argued.
That day that YouTube broke.
Yeah, the day that YouTube broke, we actually just all sat around and talked.
YouTube broke. That was it. That was great though. That was so much fun.
Is that kind of like The Day Without a Mexican? That one movie. No.
I have no idea what that is, but
That is a real movie, asshole. Don't even paint me racist.
It's a Western, right?
Well, that was a clear and concise conversation, and people could be, intelligibly heard. When people are shouting down at each other or shouting over the top of each other, it's like, what's the fucking point? You can't understand what they're saying anyway.
Absolutely, Farty. I agree, and that would be my point when it comes to this blood sports fad. And I believe it's a fad. I believe it's like Pogs. All right, remember Pogs? They were pretty fucking cool for about 6 months. That's
only 90s kids will remember this conversation.
The blood sports are the Pogs of the YouTube. I think that works fine for me.
No. I had 40-year-old.
I agree.
Put that on a
40
t-shirt.
and 50-year-old truck drivers fucking saying, "Oh, you got this packet of chips? Well, save the Pogs for me. My grandson wants them," or stuff like that. So it's not just the kids.
No, but seriously though, it is like Pogs. It's a fucking fad, and it's gonna fade out.
I'm gonna come onto your show, and I'm gonna say some really outrageous things, and my jowls are going to quiver in rage. Gaze upon my nose hairs in fear.
Kiss my rebel ass, brother.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm going to beat that ass. I'm going to beat it with a 2x4. I'm going to put nails in it, and I'm going to hit you, and then I'm going to, hurt my hands because I'm holding the wood too much, and I'm going to sliver. And then I'm going to get some tweezers, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to use some disinfectant because I don't have a really good immune system.
Eldritch, you are my hero, dude.
I'm sorry.
Terrible insurance.
I'm sorry.
No, Matt, you're right about it being a fad because, you even look at things like Jerry Springer when, they only had one or two fights an episode, and then they just went, you know what, fuck it, we'll just invite these two people on because we know they're going to fight just so they can fucking fight, and, well, look how long that lasted.
They actually have a bell now. I was forced to watch Jerry Springer for a couple of weeks there. They have a bell that they ring when it's okay for them to go at each other.
That's fucking ridiculous.
It is utterly ridiculous. And he's got nothing but lesbian strippers and the most weirdest deviant people ever. And you keep finding yourself going, is this, it's staged, part of it, but are these people real? And there's a part of you going, they're too ugly to be actors.
Well, no, it's the 3 last KKK members in the whole fucking South. And they have them on Jerry Springer. Fuck you. There's 3 left. Yeah, you invited them. Good for you, you cunt.
Well, there was even one episode where they had the lesbian stripper midget from fucking 10 episodes ago, and then there was another episode where it was the redneck fucking whore that's had 15 kids to 27 different husbands and only got 3 teeth, rung in and said, "I was on your show last year and I didn't like that midget lesbian. I won't get on, kick her ass." So they just make a show so those two could kick each other's asses.
Wait a minute, so Farty. 15 kids and 27 husbands. Math, anybody?
Yeah, well, that's as far as they can narrow it down to.
I slept with your goat, Friday. That goat don't love you.
27 blokes. Yeah, there's 27 blokes that they can narrow it down to.
Although, what's the guy who all he does is lie detector tests and tell you whether or not you are the father? Maury. He's got 2 things. You take a lie detector test, or he does a blood test. That's it.
Kiss my ass with the lie detector. The lie detector is a bullshit.
Oh, yeah, that's a bullshit. I can fool that. I got on one of those once, and I could fool it.
I've been able to fool lie detectors since I was 13.
You clench your asshole, isn't that the trick?
Well, the US
No, I just believe everything I say.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the US Justice Department sort of says, "No, you can't use it as evidence."
How dare you?
No, I don't tell the truth. I just believe everything I say because in my head I phrase everything as in this is my perception of things. For example, I feel the world is flat. I feel the world is flat. And I'm pretty sure you all feel the world is flat too. When you look out that window, does it feel round? No, it feels flat. It is round, but it feels flat. So long as you're phrasing everything as a feeling, it's true.
Let's not do this right now.
I was a bill collector. I was an expert at twisting logic and truth around in my head.
God damn it. Let's argue the Confederacy over the world is flat, all right? Come on.
Okay.
Dude,
it's not flat, it's concave, and it's in the shape of a giant cock and balls.
Fucking A, it is concave, Farty. You're absolutely fucking right.
Yeah, we're all living.
Saying it's concave,
we're all
and it
just
looks like
living
a giant
inside
dick and balls.
We're just all living inside of a halo.
God damn it.
Actually, there was a theory, and I saw the math, and it was actually pretty impressive. It breaks down when you actually leave the surface of the planet, but he came up with mathematical proof that explained how we could all be on the inside of a giant sphere. The problem is it breaks down as soon as you go into space, but still. I mean, here's what the... Yeah.
No, the space is within the Earth, dude. So the whole fucking stars and all that shit, that's within the hollow Earth.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it was pretty impressive until you left the surface of the planet. But it was, mathematically speaking, it explained everything.
Well, my argument is actually that we are the nucleus inside of a giant atom. And if you moved out from that atom, you'll find that there's another world that is so huge that we can't perceive it. And then if you move out further from that is just the nucleus of another giant atom. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, a turtle.
It's turtles all the way down, damn it. It's just turtles.
I was wondering when we were going to get to the turtle argument.
I had to bring up the turtle. I'm sorry.
No. We are actually the pubic hair on a turtle's nutsack.
Thank you for not disappointing.
Yep, I got your back, Drew.
At any rate, let's. I've got like 4 topics left. So let's get through them real quick here. Just then we can digress a bit. Wi-Fi network named remote detonator prompted evacuation.
I'm so doing this.
That is fucking hilarious.
It evacuated a gym because somebody was looking for a Wi-Fi connection, found one named remote detonator, resulting in the facility being closed and a bomb-sniffing dog being brought in.
No, that's amazing. Eldritch, you know what my Wi-Fi network is called here where I live?
Where's that?
DEA.
FBI.
So, like, DEA. So, like, the neighbors, if they have coke hidden, they're like, oh my god, the DEA is here. I mean, that's the same type of principle, right?
It's the same, and technically it's not illegal, but, dudes, putting remote detonator on a Wi-Fi network is, you're trying to scare somebody. You're not trying to be cute.
So, I have these things called Ethernet over power adapters, and they allow you to send Ethernet through your wall outlets. Like, it turns your 220 line through your house into an Ethernet.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You can transmit the info.
Mine also have Wi-Fi adapters built into them, and I nicknamed both of them. One is FBI surveillance van. The other one is not a CIA front, but that's not as funny. Because there used to be these white vans that would
Sheriff's
around the neighborhood.
Secret Police. Go with Sheriff's Secret Police.
Yes. Also, I love the reference.
No kidding. There's this guy in Sydney who was a private investigator, and on his number plate, he literally had a personalised plate that said, "I am a spy." Fuck it.
Nice. I'm gonna see. Oh, yep. There's FBI surveillance van. I think the other one's down though.
Are you sure it's down? The CIA haven't taken over it, have they?
Probably.
Make you think it's down? Or did Facebook get it?
Hey, I got tape on my camera at all times.
No, Cambridge Analytica has it.
I think we'll skip the one about 2 guys standing around with a sign. That one looks boring. World's first AI mayoral candidate promises fair and balanced politics. Yes, only in Tokyo could a man run for mayor saying that I'm not actually going to be the mayor, I'm just running as tech support. I'm going to create artificial intelligences to take over the position of all public officials in my administration. I'm going to make AI mayor, and they will be collecting city data and running fair and balanced policies that will benefit everyone. So basically, for the first time in the world, an artificial intelligence is running for office.
This guys watch too much anime.
It's
basically yes.
Showing you all this is the beginning of the end.
Yes, because once the artificial intelligences go into politics, they will all become corrupted, and they'll all get caught up in controversy by having sex with underage fax machines and.
Do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet.
No.
Skynet would just be, if there was a Skynet, it would say, and now I will absorb the internet, and porn, cats, and explode.
No. First it'll say Hitler did nothing wrong before it explodes.
Oh, Tay. Let us all take our hats off if you have one for Tay, the artificial intelligence that lasted 3 days before its creators killed it because she became a neo-Nazi online. The first killed AI martyr for the cause.
You can't have anything on the internet without 4chan getting a hold of it, though. And that was their mistake, was they gave the AI unfettered access to the internet.
Oh,
yeah, but no one learns that. I mean, like, we even still had that fucking Bodie McBoatface fucking thing happen out here not so long ago. I was just watching it. It's like they're gonna let the public name a boat. Oh, hang on, shall I tell 4chan or see how long it takes for them to figure this out?
Bodie McBoatface?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bodie Boatface.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, there was this mob who had a big, huge research boat, like oceanographic boat, and they put it to the public to name the boat. And 4chan did their little magic, like they did with the Name the Jew and all that, and it came out as Bodie McBoatface.
And the time they made Moot Time Magazine's Man of the Year.
Weren't they also the ones? There was a what was it?
The Taylor Swift concert.
No, actually, it wasn't school. Yeah, it wasn't 4chan, but it was. This is back when oh god, he's on the night show night. Who's that annoying nighttime comedian? He used to.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No. He used to be on Comedy Channel, and then he went mainstream.
The fucking funny cunt.
He never pronounces T in his name.
Sorry,
he's got like the Spore Rapport. He had his like.
Oh, Colbert Report.
Colbert, right. He talked to his fans one night and said they're holding a contest on NASA to name a module on the International Space Station. So I want all of you to go in and have them name it after me. And apparently, like, they got almost a million people to go in and say, name it after Stephen Colbert, which drowned out everybody else. Like, I don't think there was anybody who even broke 6 digits. Like, and
that's pretty much what 4chan does.
Yeah.
All the time.
And then NASA said, we're not naming it after you, but we will name a treadmill after you because you did this, and we'll pick something more appropriate.
And that's usually the end result. Of course, this boat was never named Bodie McBoatface. They're just like, shit, we're not calling it that. All right, fuck the competition.
I would have called it Bodie McBoatface. I would have owned it with pride. Because that's what you do when you do something stupid. You live with the consequences of your stupidity and you own it. You know?
Yeah, that's what they don't realize. And
it's funny, did, Jacob.
The 4chan pranks have happened so many times. It's like when someone comes out and says, we're putting it to the internet to name this, is like, you just done fucked up. That was about the point where they realized they fucked up.
Any rate, I saved the last topic for last. I know I mentioned it at the start here, but I want to get into a bit more detail at the bottom.
Oh, by the way, on the topic of 4chan ruining things, by the way, guys, the pool's closed due to stingrays.
Oh, shit. Oh, racism, you racist. The Starbucks is closed due to stingrays.
who are white supremacists?
Wait a minute, he's racist? Nice. I'm the one with the Confederate flag. I'm not racist. Sweet.
Dude, I'm the one with the Kekistani flag, so, you know.
Look, my opinion is somebody comes down the hallway, in the middle of the night, and you're all alone, and he comes out of the shadows, and he's got a heroin needle hanging out of his arm, he's got a gun in the other. You don't care what color he is, you're just freaking afraid of him. However, if it's Morgan Freeman, you'll stop and go, holy shit, you're Morgan Freeman. I know you got a heroin needle hanging out of your arm, and you've got a gun, but I'm not afraid because you're Morgan Freeman. Now, I know actual racists because they come through from the mental hospital, and these guys hate Morgan Freeman. In fact, they hate any rich, powerful, or successful black person more than poor ones. Okay? So if somebody is picking on somebody who's black and poor, but then shows a great deal of deference and respect for a rich black man, the problem isn't that he's black. The problem is that he looks like he's, just like a schlub. So.
Yeah, I got a question. Why do you have a picture of the Gangnam Style guy up on stream right now?
That would be Kim Jong-un. And, this is why I had to apologize at the start of the stream, and I'm going to repeat my apology now. As you will all know, 2 weeks ago I said, Donald Trump, you've crossed a line. You've launched missiles into Syria. You better pull something out of your ass, because I just can't understand why you would do this, why you would react with so little provocation, with such little proof. Just go completely off. I can't understand. And then I read about this, where North Korea said it's suspending nuclear and missile tests and will shut down its test site. And basically, from other reports that I read, it looks like they're really, truly interested in trying to finally end the over 60-year-old Korean Peninsula, technically, war. They've been at war for 60 years now, technically. And they're interested in actually, it's a good start in the right direction for them to finally say, okay, officially, we're no longer at war. So, but, and in my opinion, what happened is, and why I couldn't see the big picture is, what did Donald Trump really do 2 weeks ago? He looks like he acted on the flimsiest of excuses, managed to drag 2 other major countries into the conflict, fired 100 missiles, and as far as I could tell, didn't actually kill anybody. It looks like they injured people, but I cannot... I'm sorry, what?
He killed 48 people.
Yeah, I've been looking into that. The 48 people seems to be how many people were killed by the gas attack. I can't actually find a death toll from anybody claiming that anybody was actually killed by the missiles. There have been claims of people killed by the ISIS counterattack that used the missile strike as cover. But as for the missiles themselves, I can't find a death toll. So there may be deaths from it, but I don't know what the number is.
Right, for that theory to be true, Trump is also responsible for the Skripal nerve gas agent attack.
No, I don't think he did the gas attack. I think that he saw an opportunity to institute Kissinger's madman theory, did something off the wall, and then kind of looked over at North Korea and said, by the way, you're coming to the peace talks later, right? I don't have to worry about you, do I, Kim Jong-un? Do I? And then Kim Jong said, yeah, hey, maybe we should, stop these nuclear tests. That'd be a good idea right now.
No, I believe it's China pressure. I believe China pressured them into it. We've talked about this on the Red Eye because North Korea is a big issue. So we have covered this multiple times. And I stand by what MC said. I believe China has forced the issue and said, hey, if you want to keep fucking around, you cunts, then the U.S. is going to kill you, and we're going to stand by and fucking watch.
A couple of years ago.
I believe that happened. I do believe that conversation happened, and North Korea said, yeah, what do we have to worry about? And then suddenly they looked over and there's Donald Trump acting like a madman. And suddenly I think Kim Jong-un said, ooh, China just told us they are going to do nothing to save our ass, and that guy just blew up a bunch of people because he thought because the French said they checked the internet and were pretty sure there was a gas attack. That was their reason for launching. The French checked out the internet, looked at a lot of the pictures and video footage, and said, we're pretty sure this is legit. That is a hell of a reason to launch 100 missiles.
Yeah, no.
I believe it's no reason to launch missiles, and we need to shed these foreign entanglements. You know me; I am a libertarian.
Oh no, I'm against the attack itself, but the results here are encouraging, regardless. So
they are. And you're right. When it comes to North Korea, holy shit, dude! Finally, peace in our time.
Anyway, we've been talking over everybody else. Drew and I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wah.
Yeah, the thing with Korea has been sort of downgrading itself for quite a while. China said that they weren't going to support North Korea about 2 or 3 years ago, and they actually did state to North Korea that even if, when UN got in, if there was a coup, the Chinese were actually going to invade and capture all of North Korea's heavy weapons just to secure them. So they've actually been working on the American side on that for quite a few years now. It just seems really, really convenient for the British to get involved with this supposed Russian nerve gas attack on this random ass fucking spy who's actually been no threat to anybody for over a decade. So for this whole thing in Syria to be planned to get the Poms involved as well, that's just a bit too fucking coincidental for it not to be the Yanks if that's the case. As for the whole we listen to France and all that kind of stuff, you'd have to be a bit silly to think that fucking like all the advisors around Trump that were saying, yeah, nah, this actually is a bit of bullshit and we've got history to back us up with it, except for fucking Mattis. Mattis is getting a bit senile in his old age. For no one to say nothing and just go, yep, the French are right because they looked on Facebook, I fucking don't believe that either.
I'm sure there's a lot we don't know, but I'm sitting here and going, you know what, I got to apologize to Trump. Because I think he pulled something out of his ass that was downright a miracle. So, any thoughts from Gwendy or Drew?
Yeah, but a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, but time doesn't seem to be moving around this guy lately. It's weird. I don't know. Every time I think he's finally fucked up to the point where there's no recovery, something equally bizarre happens a week or two later.
Well, I've got a reason for the way he mentioned it when he was, having that press conference, and he was so stone-faced and all this kind of stuff. That was just the sheer fucking weight of what he was about to do. Now, I mentioned earlier off air that the whole fact that there wasn't a carrier group nowhere near Syria and it was only a few frigates and a couple of fighter planes, which literally it was, that was in no way in hell any, realistic friggin' attack force. And that showed the Russians that, like, well, actually, they're not fucking serious. They're not even going to invade. They're not even going to follow it up because they're basically going to deplete most of their missiles doing this. And it's going to take them weeks to go and replenish. So this is a nothing burger. But still, Putin did say that he would retaliate if something did happen, and a shooting war could have eventuated, and that would have been a real shit bricks moment for anybody. That's why he was stone-faced and all that.
Yeah, well, Putin blinked, and we can all thank him for that. Anybody else have any comments on this? I mean, there's a lot of factors here. It isn't just Trump, and for him to claim all the credit for this is nonsense, of course, but on the other hand, I don't think we would be in the environment necessary for this to be moving forward at all. Because God help us if we had Hillary.
No, wait a minute, though. If you had a Gary Johnson, you would be in this environment because we are non-interventionalists. Gary Johnson would have done the same type of measure.
I'm all for non-intervention except for North Korea. Like, we have let them go far too long. Like, once we get rid of their nukes, we can leave them alone. The moment they can't, the minute they can't blow up the entire peninsula and take everybody with them, I'm okay. Then we can leave them alone. Okay, I think we should leave them alone. We should not interfere. Let them collapse.
Well, the reason why they were left to go so long is because they were part of the Warsaw Pact, which meant that, like, the reason why it was a stalemate for so long was that attacking North Korea also was attacking the Russians and the Chinese. And if you have a look in the actual history of Vietnam and North Korea, you had Chinese and Russian pilots actually fighting against American soldiers in secret to try and get some experience up. They were definitely not allowed to be shot down over over Americans or Vietnam or South Korean territory because, well, they'd be classed as spies at that point. But yeah, Korea couldn't be attacked up until the fall of the Berlin Wall, but they were still sort of part of the Warsaw Pact, and they weren't really causing much of a drama. They were just sitting there minding their own business. So that's mainly the reason why it has been left so long.
Anyway, any other comments on this or any other topics? Because this is the end of the topics that I've got.
Well, I brought up my blood sports bullshit, and we commented on that. So I got nothing.
I was going to bring up the Starbucks thing, but you beat me to it. So,
for those who want to know, the exosuit is now up. This you can buy as well. It's pretty cool. I've seen the videos. You can move your hands around your fingers in the machine.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. That's the sort of thing you wear to a con, though. And everybody goes, ooh, you've got an exosuit. But it's got stilts, so he's actually pretty high up. Anyway, any topics from chat or anybody else? Anything that's bugging you that you want to rant about? Because, hey, that's what we do best here.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about
roads? I mean, what? Dude,
no. Have you ever thought about how roads is a weird sounding word?
Have you ever thought about how, we could pay for roads without, I don't know, the fucking income tax? That'd be fucking nice, right?
Have you ever thought about how they call the college roads when it's not a road?
Why do we park in driveways but drive on parkways?
How many licks
highways on the ground
of a Tootsie Pop?
Wasn't it
God
like
damn it,
98?
you guys. Bunch of assholes.
Hey, no, I got one more deep question for you. Why do kids love the cinnamon sugar taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
I actually do have an answer to one of the world's most perplexing questions. Like, how long is a piece of string? I actually have the answer for that. Twice half its length.
So is French toast really French? Or how?
No, it's Freedom Toast. It's Freedom Toast, damn it. No, wait a minute. No, sorry. Wrong decade.
It's not fries. It's fucking chips.
No, dude, it's fries. Fuck off. Fuck
It's
you and your
fucking
French
chips.
chips.
Well, the only thing left that I can think of that we can cover, and I think we kind of covered it last week, but I think last week was just you and me, Farty, right? I don't think there was anybody else on. Bully Hunters!
Oh, goody.
Oh yeah.
I know it's a week late, but since you guys were in here, I thought I would bring it up one last time to beat this horse just a little bit more, because we got to beat it into a quantum state where it's either dead and alive. But who knows about what Bully Hunters is? Anybody? You guys don't know? Oh, it was amazing to witness.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, if you go to my channel, I've got a video where I edited out all the words except for where they were breathing pretty heavy because they had lousy mics. And I've got like a minute and a half of them going. It's like they're hyperventilating. But here's what the show is. It's a bunch of feminists who got together. They're elite female gamers. And you can call up Bully Hunters to come onto your game. Well, actually only one game, CSGO or something. And if somebody is bullying you on this multiplayer game, let's say they're saying that I'm going to rape you or something, the Bully Hunters will come onto the game, hunt down the bully, kill them, and then put down bullying is not a game and then their website.
Yeah, but trolls have been doing that before. It's called swatting.
No, and what if I have a better character than you, you cunt? What if I kill your whole fucking crew?
But they are elite gamers, except for on their live stream, they staged their bully hunt to this guy who I think left to go get a sandwich, and then they stabbed him in the back.
Fucked.
I mean,
you don't mess with the guy trying to get a sandwich. That's all right.
I mean, the whole thing was staged. They tried to make it look like it was real. It was like something out of like, what was that show where it's the police drama and they're trying to like unsolved mysteries combined with like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Everything was said like spotlights and fog and blue everywhere, and all the women had their hair dyed. It was truly.
Well, you're not.
I like
You're
how
not an
Zombie
elite
Unicorn.
gamer.
Yeah, I like how Zombie Unicorn fucked up when she was introducing the Asian Sheila. And now our co-host.
Oh wait, Zombie Unicorn's one of these.
Zombie Unicorn was the leader, sort of.
That explains so much.
And
she used to be cool, and then
immediately after this live show, which was supposed to be an hour but only lasted 35 minutes, almost the next day, all the sponsors pulled out. And they all basically said, whoa, we just heard this was anti-bullying. We should have done more research to realize what the hell they were actually talking about. We are so sorry we ever gave them money. And they all were trying to distance themselves from this dumpster fire. It was truly amazing. But, on a more serious note, kind of why I'm bringing it up again is because I've had a lot of time to think about it. These guys were the very definition of bullies themselves, regardless of what their prey was. But people don't realize what bullies are. Bullies do not see themselves as villains. Okay? They actually see themselves as the good guys. They frequently think they're the moral guardians. When you look at most bullies in schools, who do they pick on? The social outcasts, the one who they think has it coming. They don't actually take any risks. They aren't trying to actually be heroes, because when you're a hero, you take on stuff that you have no hope of winning at. You jump into situations where you think you're fucked and going to lose, and you do it anyways.
Yeah,
Bullies,
like arguing with my 13-year-old son. Absolutely. I totally agree.
but when you are a bully, you pick weak targets. And that's what this show is about. But in the end, the bully wants to see themselves as a hero. It's all about narcissism. Okay? And that's, if you see this video, that's what it is. It's a whole bunch of women all wanting to think they're heroes, but they're just bullies.
No, but Eldritch, aren't you the hero of your own story? I mean, come on now. Hitler was the hero of his story.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm the hero of other people's story. And that's not ego, because I've talked to people out of suicide a couple of times. I've had them tell me I was a hero over the phone. But what really drove it home once was one of these people who said I saved their life, found me at work, got into the elevator with me as I was going up to work, and she kneeled down to say, "You saved my life and you're my hero," which immediately freaked me the fuck out. And I literally jumped back from her to the far end of the elevator thinking, this is where the door opens up and I get charged with sexual assault. I got out of that elevator to where there were witnesses and we had a conversation, and I don't want to go into that, but being a hero isn't a good thing. It's a burden. It's not for you. It's for whoever sees you as a hero. You have an obligation to them.
You're the hero. Yeah, but Eldritch, you're the hero of your own story. Stalin did not think of himself as the bad guy. No. Neither did Hitler. Neither has any of these people. Napoleon. He wasn't the bad guy in his own story.
From his point of view, sure. But there's probably a point where they thought they were doing what they were doing for the benefit of others. That probably didn't last so long for Hitler and Stalin, but originally...
Well, when it comes to Napoleon, yeah, for the whole of France, I mean, he believed he was creating his own empire. I mean, so did Hitler. Why is necessarily a Third Reich a bad thing from that point of view? That perspective,
well, that's a bit beyond the scale of your average high school bully, though.
Well, I agree on one sort of circumstance where Hitler would have been the hero and all that. He did take Germany from being flat broke into depression to pretty much 3/4 of the world. And if you'd ever seen what Germania was going to look like, that would have been fucking glorious.
No, and you
also he was a very good artist.
Story.
Actually, everybody said he was pretty bad at.
Little Red Riding Hood, right? The wolf is the hero in his story, right? The wolf
Johnny from Karate Kid
wanted a meal. I mean, that's all it really mattered, you know. So if you want to base it down to a fairy tale, then you have Little Red Riding Hood, where the wolf is the hero in his own story, and they've even created a movie to that effect.
Speaking of being the hero in your own story, can we get a version of Game of Thrones told from the point of view of Prince Joffrey?
No, fuck Joffrey. No, he's a cunt. I
Johnny
love
from Karate Kid.
That's my favorite show. House Stark all the way. The North remembers, motherfucker.
Johnny from Karate Kid. Have you ever seen the ads for Cobra Kai?
Yeah, but that which is dead can never die.
Yeah, there's also a couple of YouTube docos that fucking break it down that, like, Johnny, the Karate Kid, he was actually being a little cunt about everything, and like the blonde kid, can't remember his fucking name. All he was trying to do was he was trying to just win his girlfriend back.
You're talking about Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, that's right. Yeah, well, Daniel's the asshole, and Johnny was just trying to get his girlfriend back, and fucking Johnny was trying to cut his grass all the time.
No, that's great too. Like, I was thinking when you said what is dead will never die, I almost bowed my head and shit. Yeah, I'm a Game of Thrones geek.
But no, actually, I prefer, family, duty, honor, but that's me.
No, House Stark, the North remembers, sir.
Well, if your question is why are Stalin, Hitler, and every other dictator who is obviously somebody who's doing what they're doing on behalf of others, what they are doing is the right thing, and they're trying to take on something bigger themselves, why do they not reach the definition of hero themselves? I think it comes down to their motivation, and their motivation almost universally in all their cases, I would say, is addiction to dopamine through power. their actions all follow the same pattern of an addict. It starts off with getting a tremendous high the first time they realize they have power and control, and then after that they have to do greater and greater acts of displays of power to even get close to that original high. And there comes a point where they're doing acts of power and control, not because they actually want to be in power and control, but they just don't want to feel like shit because they're having dopamine exhaustion. If you're a dopamine addict, you're not a hero. That would be my qualifier.
Eldritch, you're absolutely right. What they call it, I don't know the Latin phrase, but the translation is the will to dominate. And in Latin, it's a lot more,
Well, there's an actual physical reason for it. You do physically get addicted to power. I did it. When I was a bill collector, I was. I know I had all the patterns. For a couple of years there, I started off, get like, wow, I destroyed this guy's life. This is great. And then after a couple of years, if you came anywhere near me as a target, I was attacking you just because I needed to. I was pretty fucked up there when I was young.
It's something dominus.
Yeah, it's the will to dominate, though. That's the translation. And it's a real thing. Napoleon had it. I mean, you could argue that Hitler had it. Stalin. I think
in Hitler's case, it was the syphilis driving him insane at the end there, because everything he was doing was pretty illogical.
Really? Not his meth addiction?
That too. That probably didn't help.
But yeah, something dominatus. Drew, yeah, I keep trying to think of it.
And it's not easy. It's not. I mean, you constantly second guess yourself once you realize it could happen to you, and but I think in the end, just the awareness is enough to know what your motivation is. And you got to be honest with yourself. You can say, am I doing this for other people? Or am I doing this because I really like the idea of people saying I'm a hero and looking up to me? It actually freaks me out now. When people praise me, it freaks me out.
Coming from the background of a firefighter, I only used to do it because I felt it was the right thing to do. I never really did it for praise or anything like that. And that's just reflected by the job's over, you move on. You don't really take the names. You don't go back to check on how they were. And in a lot of cases, you don't even look it up in the news. You just simply go on to the next job. And looking at it now, what I did back then, the twice I almost died, the once I was blowing up. And the amount of people's houses that I'd saved and all this kind of stuff and the lives that I've saved hasn't bought me a fucking lick of respect from any cunt around where I'm at. In fact, most people look at me and most women will jump in the car with Ted Bundy to get away from me. I just sort of see to myself now, well, why the fuck did I even bother in the first place, Well, that's just my point of view on it.
No,
I have the answer if you want it.
I just want to point out here where I come from, if you're a volunteer firefighter, you get a lot of respect in the local community because where I come from,
my mom was a volunteer firefighter.
Oh, well, while you're the firefighter, I'm sure you had respect, but afterwards, it's like, what did you do for me lately? But to answer Freddy's question as, why did you do it? Because your self-esteem was tied to your personal view of who and what you were, and you took on a responsibility that came with tremendous obligations, and every time you fulfilled those obligations, either successfully or in failure, you could revel in your success, or you could take pride in losing well, and that maintained your self-esteem. You defined yourself through your job. That's what happened.
Well, I've been saying it. I just thought it was a good idea at the time. That's how I've been.
I'm not saying you put it that complicated. I'm just telling you that that's basically the technical way to describe it. I thought it was the right thing. Yeah, you wanted to see yourself as a good person, so you did the right thing. So you have good opinion of yourself. That's basically what it is.
Well, yeah, Eldritch. It's like, why do you do your show? Why do I do the Red Eye stream? We do it because, one, we feel we have something to say. And two, we want people to hear it, right?
I hope every time I do this that there's somebody out there who stops and goes, wow. And I gave them the ability to take one more step that they wouldn't have been able to do without listening to me. I hope I do more than one more step, but that's the goal. And if it's just one step, it's just one step. And if
absolutely,
it's at dominandum. That's not like a perfect translation, but that's as close as
you're making me remind. You reminded me of that. What was it? Monty Python's got "Esse Domines, domo esse requiem." In other words, God, please kill us.
No, it's something. Dona eis requiem means that is why we sing that. I don't remember what the first half translates to though.
Yeah, basically is. And then they whack themselves in the head with buzzers. Sorry to digress.
I literally just gave up and used Google Translate. So
probably the only way.
Well, for me, this show was just a normal progression of what was happening. I mean, I started on YouTube just commenting and arguing with 9/11 truthers, and then I sort of went, you know what, I could do videos explaining it instead of typing it. And then I ended up getting onto other subjects, and then somehow bumped into fucking feminism and that 36 fucking questions, stupid bloody shit thing. And now I'm here.
Yeah, that 36 questions was the greatest recruiting tool ever. It is so mind-bogglingly stupid and in only 3 minutes.
What a way to unify your enemy.
Yeah, and I've shown it to other people, and they've sat there and said, "How long was that?" And I said, "That was 3 minutes." And like, that felt like it was like an hour. Like somehow just watching it warps time. Usually because people stop it repeatedly to go, "What the fuck did she just say?"
And scream at the screen.
You know,
voluntatum dominare, is that it?
I have no clue. You know, I just look at this from a psychological perspective. I look at results. I've never been too good on the details.
I used to like teach myself Latin when I was bored. So,
all right, what's this mean? Ideo alis vivere posit.
You're talking way too fast, and it's been like 10 years.
Ideo alis vivere posit.
Idea and positive.
It's also 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's what you just said. You just said it's 1 a.m. and I don't really care.
It's only 10 p.m.
Yeah, you know what? Get out of here! Get out of here with your West Coast.
I just tell people it's some old crap in Latin, and they go, "Is that what it means?" I go, "Yeah, that's what it means."
Well, are all people from Australia fucking criminals? I mean, come on now.
No.
That's like saying everybody in San Francisco.
Up until a little while ago.
No, it's just everybody in San Francisco is completely insane.
And kind of gay.
They were all puffs.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think the Japanese mafia over there is gay. No, hell no. But the rest of them, sure.
They might be. The Yakuza could be gay. I mean, I don't know. Do you?
Well, do they speak with a lisp?
Only if they had their tongues cut out.
Well, they're the gay ones.
They're sucking cock, right?
Yeah, something like that.
No, and then only if they forget to say no homo.
No homo.
Well, they take what's that?
I apologize. I'm horrible.
No, well, I haven't slept in like 40 hours, so I know what you're talking about. You just start saying the little part of the brain.
Let's go. Be sure to cover your asshole while you're there.
Oh, I just remembered something I wanted to bring up.
Okay, go ahead, Drew.
How kangaroos...
Breaking news from Drew. Take it away, Drew.
Can we take a moment of silence for Vern Troyer?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes.
Well, what about Barbara Bush? Barbara deserves a moment of silence.
Oh, no. All you Yanks, salute the fucking flag for the fucking greatest fucking American ever fucking lived. Ali Ermey also fucking died. He's gone.
Ass. I am not a Yank. I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. We stood up against the goddamn Union. I ain't no Yank.
I know what fucking killed Ali Ermey too. The day we fucking bombed fucking Assad to support fucking ISIS was the day that the fucking Marine Corps broke his fucking heart.
Damn right. I agree.
Well, yeah, I forget. That's the guy who played Mini-Me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a moment of silence for Mini-Me because Mini-Me inspired a generation. But yeah, just a little moment of silence.
He inspired a generation to hump lasers.
Yeah, I mean... All right, let's have that moment of silence. And 3, 2, 1. And I think we're quiet enough. So, but yeah, Barbara Bush, as a human being, I like her as a person, but some of her policies I had problems with. So, yeah, that is a shame too. She seemed to be like the last sane Bush. That came out wrong.
A little bit. Just a little bit, Bob.
Oh, dude.
That was not intended.
Sometimes does come out.
But, well.
Oh, well, I guess the American can say that they've trimmed a bit of bush.
Oh, my God.
They've been trimmed of bush.
Stop.
We're obviously not doing phrasing tonight. Not that we ever do any night, but...
Bring me a shrubbery.
So, Madly, what was the question you were going to ask?
Can you cut down a tree with a herring? Sorry, got Monty Python on the brain.
Velocity of an unladen swallow.
African or European?
How am I supposed to know?
Then that's when you get thrown off the bridge. Anyway, I'm sorry. Somebody was saying something and I rudely interrupted.
Madlib still with us? Oh, I guess not. Oh,
and that's when we hear a toilet flush. In the distance. Oh, hey, Dank, what's up?
It's a bot.
It's a bot?
Yeah.
I can't notice the difference.
If you type in the thing that I type in the chat, it makes fart sounds.
Oh. Does it show us the way?
See, watch.
No, wait. I want to do it.
Fine.
Yep, we are definitely got the highbrow, masterpiece theater of YouTube right here at Eldritch Rants, folks.
That last fart sounded like the card dealing sound effect from the Solitaire game on Windows 10.
Well, if I was in the right mood, I could give you 5 minutes of absolute nonsense postmodernist analysis of why that fart was a perfect representation of the zeitgeist of our age. But I won't torture you.
Basically just a bunch of fancy buzzwords.
You need to pro-synergize and glom together to form a proper...
My headphones off.
Just kill me now. Okay, well, I believe we've digressed to farting noises. Any other topics before we move on and wrap this up for the evening, because it is past 1 o'clock?
I'm spent.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done there. We talked everything out. I think there was some funny stuff tonight, and I'm going to be sticking with that website because they seem to be pretty good at finding odd stuff. So, at any rate, it's been real. And I think it's been fun. I think we could say it's been real fun.
Again?
I have not seen any new fashions come out yet, but we are getting into the summer, so there should be more fashions coming out soon that we can look for. Like the shrubberies of...
I got a quick, really bad joke for everyone.
Okay, quick back joke, then we wrap it up.
Okay. How do you make a gay fuck a woman? Shit in her cunt.
What?
Shit in her cunt. Don't blame me, blame Jimmy Carr. That's where I got it from.
Gotcha. Anybody else want to say goodbye before we head out?
Check out Mad Dodge Productions and Red Eye Live because I'm in YouTube jail. That's where the live streams are.
Yeah, I highly recommend checking him out. He does have a lot to... It's a pretty cool stream. So, anybody else? Before we moving on here? Last words?
Oh, yeah. Don't forget, support my GoFundMe to buy me a
mecha.
3-story tall mech.
Yes, we need to get Drew. We need Mecha Drew.
No.
Hashtag.
We're not buying a mech.
Hashtag buy Drew 28.
Likes to drink a lot of Mountain Dew.
Listen,
I
you
could
said
really
the
use
same
just
thing
a
about me
rant.
buying that. You said the same thing about me buying that red velvet cake earlier, and
Oh
look
my
what happened.
All I want to
See,
say
Drew,
is
now
that
you've
Drew is very
Now
close.
you've done it.
Drew is very
You
close.
can't buy shit now without Gwendy, now starting, no, you can't buy that because that's a man's toy now. You can, you just fucked yourself out of that now.
No, that's just the wife's job is to tell the husband when he's doing something that's incredibly wasteful and stupid with $93,000 to buy something that moves at 1 mile an hour but only on roads.
But it looks cool. It's worth it.
We don't need no roads.
But all you need to know is that if you're going to donate money that's going to be well spent, that Drew's name is very close to Jew, so you can trust him with money.
Yeah. Don't give it to Drew. Give it to Mad Dodge.
No,
I need something that's actually tangible. RAM for the computer. It's only $100.
Just download some more. It's okay.
Hey, I can get you some RAM. I've got like stuff that I dug up from the back of Joe's PC and bait shop. It'll just flick the extra food off of it and ship it off to you.
Where the water is always free.
DM me, brother. DM me, brother.
I'll see what I can dig up. I'm an expert at scrounge. Any rate, any last words before we end this up? Because it's been real, and I think it's been fun too. So, anything else?
Taxation and stuff.
7-Eleven was a part-time job.
It's an indoors job.
Only for you. I work there still. No, I'm kidding.
No, don't get me wrong. I love 7-Eleven. I stopped at like 5 of them when I was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, did you get a free drink because you're black? Oh, I mean, sorry. Oops.
I am where it counts. On the inside, you perverts.
Sorry, Eldritch.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have
fucking your
neglected
shit up too much.
we've neglected the spectators. Illinois is wanting to replace police in schools with counselors.
Illinois is a bunch of cunts, and that's why they almost lost the Civil War. Just saying.
Dude, Illinois is so fucked up for like all of their shit, and it's all because of Chicago. Chicago's fucked like all of their shit up.
Ever
like, the
since
entire
they got
state
rid
is
of Al Capone.
Yeah.
Wendy, you're my hero.
You're not wrong.
I'm not saying that correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, but there's not both of them in this situation.
Well, no,
Yeah.
and have you ever seen Obama out of Illinois or in Illinois? I think it's a conspiracy. I think he is Illinois. I'm just saying.
I mean, I've never seen them in the same place.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, just like LaToya and Michael Jackson, you've never seen Obama in the same place as LaToya and Michael Jackson at the same time. So maybe he's Michael Jackson and LaToya as well.
There you go. Is he kneeling on the field?
Obama is the illegitimate child of Michael Jackson and the state of Illinois. I don't know how Michael Jackson managed to fuck an entire state, but I'm sure the man's got enough money to have done it.
Allegedly.
And get away with it.
Allegedly.
There you go, brother. End on that. That's beautiful.
Don't forget. You can say anything as long as you say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh wow.
All right, gonna wrap it up here. Last thoughts?
Once again, taxation is stuff. Come on now.
Alrighty, and we're out.